think I'm dreaming. When I'm here with you, I feel the love. It's a gift from above. You always give me everything I need. Everyday love, it sets me free. Yeah, I can feel the love. Yeah, I feel Sheetz love. You fill me up with love, both night and day. This is what I feel, what can I say? Yeah, I can feel the love. I feel Sheetz love. I feel love. Yeah, love.
What's up?
Welcome to Kickin Ass
With
Jesse and Andy.
And
Andy.
It's going to be different every single time.
Yeah.
He just pulled a Rich the G-Man Goins. The original UFC announcer would always be like, and in this corner, Randy Couture.
Oh, you do the double?
We're still rocking.
Yeah, there's something going on there.
More sheets.
Like how Anderson would do the the double.
Yeah.
Like there's an echo.
We didn't get a George Gatton song this week. So this week, because we have the marvelous
Special guest.
Gregory Iron.
Yo.
Hey, Greg.
What's up?
What's up?
That was a Sheetz jingle I found.
It's beautiful.
This morning.
I was watching the video. Is it a real jingle or was that like a joke?
It's real. Yeah, it's a
oh,
real
because the
jingle.
video actually looked like a joke. Like it was real.
I mean, Sheetz is kind of hip.
I thought like somebody just made that as like they love
Yeah.
sheep, but like the video looked like they were goofing around.
Well, you know, sometimes you got to keep.
Did you
up with
recognize
that
it?
stuff.
I've never heard that, but I doubt that Wawa has a jingle like that.
They don't. I feel like that's going to be a lot of the podcast for sure, because
It's a war, man.
yeah,
It's a war. out
it
there.
is.
Wawa
yeah.
versus Sheetz, man. If you're Team Wawa, then stop listening to this podcast right now.
I do have to say this though. Do you have a second go to? So if you're in an area where there's no sheets, like Quick Check is kind of cool.
What are
And
the
then
areas
Ditko
really
is
quick? Like
okay.
Sheetz is what? Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's like
Pennsylvania, Ohio.
Oh, so you guys have them near you?
Some of
In
Jersey.
Yeah, a bunch of them. Like, well, back in the day when I first started wrestling 10 years ago, like Sheetz were like hard to come by. The closest one was like 40 minutes. So like when me and Gargano would be traveling when we first started, like Sheetz was like.
The jam.
It was like a holiday. You
I
know, if you're
gotcha.
going through and
Still
you're passing
is.
through, you get the sheets. You know what I'm
Still
saying? Like,
is.
yeah. So it's like for people that like actually appreciate the sheets. Like, if you don't have one near you when you get to it, you should thoroughly
Yeah,
appreciate
it should be glowing.
the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually driven from Buffalo to Erie just to eat and then come back.
And it's worth it.
Yeah,
totally worth it.
90 miles.
Is that the closest one to the one we
Yeah.
went to yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't have a backup per se. Like some people put over like a lot of the speedways have like made to order stuff now, but I've never had it. And then like Get Go, I've never really had their stuff either. So it's like if there's no sheets, I'm kind of done.
Yo, what's QT? That's what I'm talking about. That's not Quick Check.
No.
QT has like made to order stuff, but they keep it super simple. Where like Wawa
Yeah.
tries to like compete with Sheetz.
Sheetz has a lot
awesomeness.
of shit.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like
honestly, like, I've never been particular to one or the other, but then it was just literally yesterday, and I was just like, dude, Sheetz has a lot more.
everything.
Like, yeah.
yeah.
I
And
feel
the
like you're
burritos aren't
intimidated by
wet.
this podcast going.
The
into it
burritos
thinking,
aren't
like, I
wet.
need to pick a team, and that's when you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna pick Sheetz because there's no other alternative. Really.
It is, dude. I mean, they have. What'd you get yesterday? The cheesy bites.
Yeah, the Wisconsin cheesy.
Is that
bites.
stuff really called Boom Boom sauce?
Yeah, that's their signature sauce. Man.
Oh, it is. It was.
They also have like a
it was
Dr. Pepper
delicious.
sauce that I don't think anyone else.
Yeah,
has.
Nick and Eddie
Yeah.
was putting that over.
Yeah.
It's like a Dr. Pepper barbecue sauce, right?
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
You really don't taste a lot of Dr. Pepper in it.
Yeah.
That's what
The
it
Boom
is.
Boom
But it's
sauce
good.
was-
Boom Boom sauce is amazing.
Yeah. It's kind of like remoulade sauce, I thought.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is, but sure.
Then you dip onion
Ramelin
rings.
sauce?
You dip onion
Ramelin
rings.
sauce.
You dip onion rings in it. It's delicious.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, you're
know a lot
a
about onion
hardcore.
rings.
Well, because what's the Twitter combo you guys getting? Was it you three and CM Punk?
well,
Well, yeah.
Sam and I.
Here's a story behind that
Does
really
Greg sound
pisses
okay?
me off.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
So we did the. I did the thing with him in 2011 where he pretty much made my career and like.
I was gonna
video
ask him.
goes
I was
viral,
gonna
right?
ask you about that.
So that happened.
get back to it.
One of the greatest moments of my career and my life. And Punk was great to me.
Wait, yeah,
for,
but In 2017, looking back on it, was it that great though? Because of the war. Like at some point in time, that's like. I mean, at this point in time.
Well, that kind of was a game changer because here, me and him haven't spoken since then.
Sheetz and Wawa brought it back.
So you would
since that very moment we haven't talked.
And there was times when I tweet stuff at him. I even thanking him and Cabana yearly for the event that happened in Chicago in 2011 for me because I'm very appreciative of it. And never get a response, and that's fine. I know he's a busy guy. So you would imagine how taken aback I was when me and you, Andy, were having a personal tweet conversation where we're basically trying to get a Sheetz endorsement here, and this son of a bitch chimes in. He's not involved
out of nowhere, like out of the
Wawa
mist.
Greater than Sheetz, and I'm like, okay, what?
Here's the thing, too, is like in followers. You and I are just mere peasants.
For sure. Compared to CM Punk, we're nothing.
Yeah.
He's over 1 million, right?
Yeah. It's like him and I are in we're in the Yemen.
Yeah.
That's us.
Wawa
We're
land.
in our own country in the Yemen. And then the United States comes around and just bullies us.
He's like another dimension, pretty much,
Yeah.
if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, he's like his own he has his own planet.
Let's explain the event that happened. What year was it?
2011.
2011?
Yeah.
And you worked Cabana in Chicago, right?
We teamed up, and it was real,
okay.
it was real random because I'd been going to AAW for a long time, just doing dark matches and never really being on the main show because I was only like 5 years in, but I was still trying to just
make a name for
myself, like really not making any money as a wrestler. And I actually in real life I had a real job and I had lost it like maybe a month prior, and I was actually debating canceling going to Chicago because I just wasn't going to make any money. So I was like, ugh, I don't think
it's
I
crazy.
can
It
go.
always works out that way.
Right, and so I was traveling with Ricky Shane Page, and I'm real close with Ricky now, but that was before we were even close. And
okay.
I remember he texted me and was like, hey, Danny Daniels, the promoter, he wants to know if you're still coming to the show. I was like, in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to cancel him. I'm like, yeah, it should be good. And why, what's up? He's like, well, he keeps texting me saying that you're randomly teaming with Cabana for the tag titles. And I'm like...
Wait, so you basically had just been doing like dark matches? And then like,
only pre-show matches, yeah.
Oh, yeah, wow.
And all of a sudden it was like, you're in a tag match with Cabana for the titles. And I remember thinking like, that's weird as fuck, man. Because I had always went to Cabana for advice because I've always enjoyed his work, and obviously
he's been around a while.
Yeah, and I just wanted to learn and try to get better, so I would always write him and talk to him at shows, just ask him what should I do here or here. So I just thought it was super random. So I really wanted that opportunity. I didn't care why it was happening. I just wanted to make it happen. So I went to my little brother, and he was working at a gas station at the time. And I told him about the opportunity I had, and I asked him to borrow $50 just so I could go to Chicago and kind of pay my way. So I didn't have to cancel. And it's crazy to think about how much different my life would be had I not
gone,
borrowed that $50 and went to Chicago. Then I went, and then I teamed with Cabana, and I saw Punk was there before the show. Yeah,
so you knew Punk was there?
I knew he was there once I got there. No one gave me the iggit, but that was.
Well, we should explain too, because this is just when he just beaten Cena for the title,
right? So that happened,
quote unquote, left.
That
the
had just happened the last Sunday. So he won the title at Money in the Bank.
So it was the week after,
and then he showed up at Comic-Con and did some promo on Triple H. Where basically he's not with the company, but it went viral.
Yeah, I remember that.
So he's trying to make videos go viral. So I meet him before the show, and just for a second, and then I remember when I shook his hand. I was like, hi, I'm Greg, nice to meet you. I remember he smirked at me real weird. He's like, hi. In just a weird way where I was I walked up to Ricky after, and I was like, dude, the weirdest thing just happened. I said hi to CM Punk, but he said hi to me like he knew who I was. And so now I was like, I want to ask him for advice or something, but I don't know how to go about that, and blah, blah, blah. So
he was kind of weird to me.
Yeah, so I don't know. I knew he was going to be watching the match because I was teaming with Cabana, so I was super nervous. And I even remember calling the match and Cabana looking at me at one point because I must have looked just scared shitless. Because he was like, "Are you all right, man?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm good." I'm just thinking. And so I go out there and we do the match, and Cabana puts me over, and it was sweet. If it would have ended there, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then he tells me to stay in the ring, and then he goes to the back and he grabs Punk, and Punk comes out, and no one knew he was there, so they go crazy. And in my head, as he's coming out, I'm thinking, "Oh man, he's going to cut this promo about being the WWE champion.
Yeah.
Company, I'm going to be in the background.
Viral video,
Me. And then he walks up to me without the mic, and he shakes my hand, and he goes, "Are you okay? You're fucking awesome." And I remember thinking, oh man, like, he just told me I'm fucking awesome. Like, no one's ever gonna know that he said that.
Yeah.
But like, I know he said it, so like, cool. And then he grabbed the mic and he was like, blah 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 blah. Pardon my language, but you're fucking awesome. I'm like, okay, wait, he just said that. Like, and like, I felt myself like getting choked up and like, just because I love wrestling, you know, and like, it's been such a part of my life.
And the personal stuff you've gone through just to get there.
Yeah, like, you know, wrestling with cerebral palsy, and like, my mom's always been addicted to drugs, and you know, she passed away in 2010 of a drug overdose, and
oh, so this was like a year later?
Yeah, a year after that. So like, I don't know, I've been through like a lot of hardships, and like, wrestling was kind of always, for me, the guiding light, you know, that kept me going and kept me positive. And so like, he starts cutting this promo about just how inspiring I am. So like, basically, Cabana had filled him in on my story, and so they wanted to put a spotlight on me to kind of give me this opportunity to just
give you the rub.
And try to make some money as a wrestler. And I started crying in the ring, and I felt like a little bitch at the time.
I saw the video.
So like, but I'm just, I don't know, for me, like, I felt like that's what kind of helped the video get attention, because I felt like it was very genuine.
That's, I mean, like, I didn't know you that well when I saw it. Like, it says a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To how real the whole thing was.
Yeah.
Because that, like I said, the bits and pieces like I picked up from it was like, I was wondering if you even knew that Punk was there during the day.
Yeah.
And then, with you crying, it was like, it was obvious you didn't know he was going to come out and say those things. You know what I mean? It's just like, it brings the whole realism to it. And, but the biggest thing is it shows your passion for wrestling.
Absolutely. Like, and for me, it was like, you know, when that happened, like, I feel like people don't understand. It's like, that wasn't just like justification of like the 5 years at that point that I'd been wrestling, and like hoping that someone would notice how hard I'm working on my physique, despite the fact that only one of my arms work well and stuff, or like just how much I'm traveling. Like, it was like justification of like my whole life, you know, everything I've been through.
Not just wrestling.
Yeah, it was like, you know, even if I like go to WWE or whatever the hell and like go to WrestleMania, like, I feel like nothing will ever be like as genuine and as sweet as like that moment in Chicago.
Yeah.
It was real special.
Yeah. I think what says a lot too is like, I was just like, a lot of the advice guys tell you as far as trying to make something with wrestling or music's the same thing, or comedy, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Is patience. And like, you know, it shows like, because, you know, a lot of people would think like, oh wow, that happened to you, like, you know, you're going to be in the WWE within a couple months. And it's like, you know, these things just take time. You know what I mean? And the fact that you're still going, because to experience like a high like that, and then, you know what I mean, and then things will kind of level off. Yeah. But there's like, you know, there's always peaks and valleys, but like the fact that you're still going is I think that says the most.
Yeah.
You know?
Thank you. And you know, it comes down to, I feel like, you can't just coast on like something like that. And I feel like for me, like, over the years,
you gotta keep going.
I keep having to like work harder and like even reinvent myself, like doing the bad guy thing that was real awkward for me at first.
That's what I feel like turning heel was a big thing for you too.
That really kept me relevant. And I think like, I always try to tell young guys, like, I feel like when you work with different people that have like different aspects of their character, or you do something different as a performer, working with other people, it's like you add kind of layers to yourself that maybe you didn't think you could. So then once you go out on your own again, or do something different, like that layer's there now. And I feel like you're more comfortable showing it. Like, I feel in real life I'm like an actual like sarcastic asshole and just like a funny guy, and I like to joke around, not take anything serious, but it was hard for me to translate that to my wrestling character, if that makes sense. Like, I just felt like I was very white meat, babyface, inspirational, underdog guy, and then once I became a bad guy and started to like kind of bring out like the sarcastic side of me, and like, I don't know, I felt like I was able to figure out how to make that work as a babyface too.
Yeah.
Like, without coming off as like a cocky dick.
No, exactly.
Just like a babyface making fun of a stupid heel, and like, I don't know, it really helped me, the longevity in my career being a bad guy.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there with is like with the heel turn and doing the heel stuff, but like you said, still incorporating that into like being a babyface too, because you don't always just have to be this like white meat babyface. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can be the aggressive guy or the whatever. Yeah. But I mean, I was gonna say is I feel like I noticed you come into your own, because like we worked. We did some tag stuff in Smash. That's when Laura gave you that like shoot choke hold in the corner.
Was horrible. I thought that was the last moments of my life.
It was me and Laura versus Greg and I don't remember your part. Jules Malone. Yep. So we did a mixed tag, and like we just did the cliche thing, like we're the heels. I got Greg in the corner. I took the referee, and like Laura like choked Greg, but he literally was like he was like blacking out.
I couldn't like. There's nothing I could do because I'm thinking like I can't tell her that she's choking me to death because
she literally has an arm locked to my throat.
I'm starting to go under. I'm thinking to myself like I'm about to die. I'm gonna fucking die via chokehold, like shoot chokehold in the ring right now. And then like afterwards, I was like, how is everything? I'm like, great, but you like were for real choking me.
That choke.
I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no,
Cherry
it's
Bob
cool.
the Shooter.
Horrible.
You printed out an 8x10 of that picture for her, like side.
I did, because someone got like this great shot of just like my face completely purple and her just like strangling me. So like, yeah, it was insane.
That's awesome.
But what I was gonna say was, we did that match, and then me and you worked after your heel turn. We did a singles in 2CW.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like there was a big difference in your work
Thank
there.
you.
And you were a lot more comfortable and confident in yourself and
And I feel like over the last couple years, like especially during that time period when I worked with you, it's like I felt like I was becoming 100% confident in like who I am as like a performer and like what I could do. And I remember talking to you too, like before the match, and just like we had both had like a string of just working with like shitty dudes.
Oh yeah,
having shitty matches.
That happens a lot.
One of those, I know I had a lot of matches that weekend, and I was just like,
I remember this now, and you were just like, yeah, man,
I need this match. And then like once we had it, I was like, oh, thank God we had that match, because like it's just one of those things that's like sometimes you have like such a down period that like when you have a really good match, it's like, okay, this is why I do this.
A breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, totally.
I really want to do the heel turn at the end of that.
Yeah.
That punk talk. It's like the best thing. Fuck that man. Shit on Sheetz.
Yeah, I mean,
I take back everything I said.
I got no respect for him now though because of the Wawa. So look, he only changed my life and helped me earn money as a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
But
you shit on Sheetz, I shit on you.
There's an elephant in the room right now.
Yeah.
And it is not Dr. Dan.
Oh, come on.
Jeez, guys. Hey, come on, guys.
Why do you always go with that size coffee?
The small?
What is going on there, man? Jesse...
You got extra large, I got a small.
Yeah, Jesse always goes with, like, the tall, like, just a cup of coffee.
Like, legit.
Just a cup of coffee.
Measured.
You're going to drink more later.
No,
You're an energy drink guy now.
No, I actually have like a kind of a pre-workout hangover. I took too much yesterday, and I wasn't gonna have any today to try and like flush it out. But
life of a meat man.
Yeah, so I just needed but then I stopped and got you a coffee, and I was like, I'll just get a small one. So I got
every time I
it's
see
literally
someone with that,
it's literally 3 sips of coffee.
We toured with someone who had that, like he would always have that, and it would last like. You'd see him drinking the same cup like 5 hours later. You'd be like, Jesus, how do you make that last? Yeah. Like it's just the tiniest little cup.
I think it's weird with hot coffee. I always do the small, but like if I get like a cold brew, that I get the big one. Like cold brews I can slam.
Dude, anything that's cold, I just drink right away.
Yeah.
It literally goes down immediately. There's no hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah. Once hot coffee gets cold, to me it's like shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna completely change the subject real quick, but on the way here, I'm pretty sure I saw Sue walking her white dog. Sue Andy grew up around here.
I don't know if you haven't listened to the podcast yet.
We already told the story, but like basically we walked past this lady before on the street.
Okay.
And it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was just like, hey, how you doing? She had a little dog. We took about 10 steps, and Andy goes, those are the first tits I've ever seen in my life. This woman's like in her 50s.
No, she was
now
like,
probably
she's like
60s.
in her 80s, probably like close to 80 years old.
Really?
Oh my God.
When I saw her tits when she was 50, when she was in her 50s.
My bad.
How does that even come about?
She's a wild one, man.
All right.
We used to have this bar in our neighborhood named Joey's Pub. And Joey's Pub was like, they were the place that had like 10 to 15 cent chicken wings, like growing up. So every Monday, this is terrible.
Sick happy hour.
So every Monday and Wednesday, we would go and eat at. It's like Taggart's. Remember when we all went
with
to
the
Taggart's
wings
at the time? So essentially the same thing. We're like 10 to 15 cent chicken wings every Monday and Wednesday. We would eat chicken wings every Monday and Wednesday.
Okay.
But when you're like 18 years old, you can fucking slug down 20 chicken wings and not think anything of it, and then eat 20 more chicken wings 2 days later and think nothing of it. As a savvy young vet rookie, 40-year-old greenhorn, You can't eat chicken wings every. I eat chicken wings once a month.
Yeah,
if that.
Now you'll shit yourself.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But at that time, like, dude, I would eat so chicken. Anyways, Joey's Pub was in our neighborhood. It was 1 block away. We'd eat there 2 days a week. They had a homeless guy that would live behind it named Monk, who was amazing. Like, dude, he
also yesterday was telling a story about being on tour. He was like, "Yeah, our buddy the Witch." Yes, it was the Witch.
The Witch. Okay, you guys. Okay, so in music, you go to the same places over and over again.
Yep.
And you guys go to the same places over and over again.
Yeah.
So there's staff.
Sure.
That are there that you don't know. You see them every single time. Whether it's like a guy that sets the chairs up, a guy that works at like the hall, a guy that works at the club or whatever like that. You don't know them, but they're there every single time.
Oh yeah.
Those dudes always have things. I'll give you some of the names that we've had over the years.
Please.
We stayed with a chick in, I think, Colorado Springs, who had a cast on her arm. And in the morning, we all woke up to like start taking showers, and there was a huge turd. And she just came out of there in her thing. So there's cast chick that took a dump. That's her forever. Yeah. Forever will be there.
Forever and ever.
We had a terrible promoter in Memphis that we just called Neckbeard because he had a neck beard.
Makes sense.
There was, oh god, this is so mean. There used to be this like little chubby Asian girl that would come to our shows and like stage dive and stuff, and she always had this like super angry face. Yeah. So I literally nicknamed her War Pig Asian.
Yeah,
because she was just crazy looking.
Greg goes, okay.
So that's the end of the podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Switch the subject.
And then like there's other characteristics too, like other characteristics of. Oh boy, the mic! If you heard that, it got real crazy in here.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's on Greg's episode.
Do you want to?
And there's guys. Do you want to beep that out? No.
You got more names? Please.
No, I was gonna go into like. Then there's characteristics that you see all the time. There's always for a tour when we're on tour. I think I've tweeted this before. On tour, you always at least once on a tour, there's always a loader or a guy that works at a club wearing one of those like utility kilts.
Yeah.
It is the fucking worst look ever, and like automatically it just screams, "Oh, that's an asshole!" Like you just like look at the guy, you're like, "Oh, that guy's a dickhead."
Yeah, that's unnecessary.
It's like a guy outside rolling a cigarette. You're just like, "He's a dick." You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. You're just like, "Oh boy."
Well, like we talked, like we just on wrestling, we recently just noticed, like, you know, every show has the guy that runs like the lights and the music, the computer guy. Yep. Like a lot of them are the same. Oh, yeah. They have the same characteristics.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
Most of them, it's either computer talk or wrestling talk. That's about all. That's about all you're gonna get.
Last night, so me and Jesse last night wrestled in Erie, Pennsylvania. You guys wrestled in
Rochester.
Rochester for
upstate. Oh, in Rochester.
Yep.
Okay. And there's characteristics in wrestling too, and this isn't shit talking at all. But there's just like certain things that I've noticed coming into this world where you see it every single show. So every single show has, we kind of talked about it last night in the car, where there's every show you can just go, oh, that's the guy that grew up loving Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that characteristic in like pro wrestling where it's like there's a guy that's kind of
a lot of those guys. Yeah. Shawn Michaels in particular. Like, indie guys that think they're Shawn Michaels. Yeah.
And it's really funny to see that where you can like kind of guess what kind of wrestling a dude grew up with.
Yeah, watching. Or like, a big fan of.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that guy's a Batista guy.
Yeah.
There he is. You know what I mean? Like, sure. This guy is... And this isn't like a knock on it, because, I mean, I was a bouncer before Every Time I Die, so, like... But, like, you can tell, like, this is a guy who's, like... He was a college bro dude.
Uh-huh.
Had a friend that was into wrestling. Was probably bouncing somewhere. And, like a wrestler dude came and saw him. It's like, hey, man.
Yeah, you should get
There's a training thing over here.
Yeah.
Or like you have a guy that's like, hey man, I have a mat at my house.
We can roll around.
Let's shoot.
Uh-huh.
And then, you know, the guy
goes
and literally buys like a pair of Speedos and then like shows up and he's got like a 6 sun tattoo.
And you know who those guys end up becoming? It's like they become the guys on the show, which, you know, some have more than others. But like there's always those guys on the show where they have the worst match you've ever seen in your life, and then they get to the back and they're so oblivious to it, and they're brothering each other and like,
yeah,
that was so good. Oh my God, we had him in the palm of our hands. Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah,
and like I'm just like I just watched it. I'm just like, that was the worst shit I've ever seen in my life, and you don't even realize it. Now, so like.
Hey, how did you guys not realize you were blown up and falling on each other and like
yeah, like it's insane. Like they're just delusional.
Delusional. There's a lot of delusional brothers out there.
So like there's so many parallels between like concerts and wrestling. So it's like, are there ever bands, Andy, that 100%. Are like that?
Oh, there has to be
they just have the
bands.
worst set you've ever heard in your life, and they just get in the back and like, brother, that was so good. Like,
tore it up.
Sold 10 tickets and like that was great.
My go-to is because I'm like extremely nice. Yes, I came up with a name called War Pig Asian. but
that.
Yeah, I'm like a really nice person. So like if someone does come up to me and go, "Hey man, will you watch my band tonight?" Yeah, I'll go out and I'll watch some music. And like we'll play with like opening bands sometimes, or like just like local bands that like get thrown on a show. And it's like, you know what, man? Like there's a thing in which I think in wrestling is a very fortunate thing that like local stuff still happens, where like local guys always get a shot. Yeah. And there's some, we talked about it last night, like there's some local dudes who are really good, but they're just content with staying there.
Yeah, with being local.
And that's their thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? They'll work within like 90-mile radius, and that's fine. You know what I mean? And you know, back in the day when we first started, there weren't package tours. So it wasn't like, here's 5 signed bands on tour. There's like all this backing, there's sponsors, and you know what I mean? Like there's money before the tour even starts. Yeah. That never happened. You know what I mean?
That wasn't around.
When we first started, you know, you would show up to the show, you would see the flyer and go, holy shit, we're playing with these bands today? And you'd be stoked, like, holy, I have like 3 of this band's CDs. Yeah, and you would have no idea.
You didn't even know,
Because there's no internet or anything like that. You'd just be like, holy shit, like we're playing with fucking Hatebreed today. This is so cool. Yeah. And then you kind of like find out about bands. That really doesn't happen anymore because package tours are
months in advance.
So easy. Pretty much. Like, you know, a package tour, just like a booking agent comes like, hey, here's the 4 bands. Like, go out there and these labels are throwing money in. Like, Red Bull's throwing money into this and blah, blah, blah. And it becomes an industry instead of like a homegrown thing. Yeah. So every chance we always have where there's a local opener on, I try to always watch just due to the fact that, like, for me, it was a big deal when we were kids.
Because you were around back then.
Yeah, when you were going to shows, if in Buffalo, like think about when a big band came through Buffalo and we would go to the show and then your favorite local band was playing for that band. It was almost like, oh shit, like this is my band.
Yeah, and they're I'm
going to go fucking hard.
Yeah, you know they're going to go open for these guys. Yeah.
And like it's kind of their chance where like that bigger band goes, oh fuck, there's this band from Buffalo called Every Time I Die. They're fucking rad. And then they start talking about it. You know what I mean?
Kind of like when Kid Gorgeous opened for Vanilla Ice. when he
did
the metal show.
Like that. Exactly.
They came out with his metal album. Yeah.
All those people left going, Kid Gorgeous.
You know?
There was a story, like someone drove him that day. Like someone went to pick him up at the airport. And when they got in the car, I can't remember who it was, but it was like probably like Mitch or one of those dudes. Like, was like, hey man, do I call you Rob or do I call you Ice or Vanilla Ice? And he was like, don't call me anything. And then just put his head down.
I remember Ring said he was on his bus smoking weed playing Madden for like Super Nintendo for like hours before his set. Because we were like, where is he? And he's like, he's on his bus playing Madden for
very cool.
Because I mean, this was 97, I think.
Yeah.
So I think it was like Super Nintendo. Madden was like the jam back then.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But getting back to it, like, so I'll always go out and like watch bands, and there's some times where like, you know, sometimes you meet someone like, and you've already kind of committed to it, like, yeah, I'll watch you guys, and then like the talk keeps going, and you're like, you know what, this guy is not my kind of guy.
Yeah.
But then you like go out and you watch him, and I'll go out and like, if a band's like good, I'll watch the entire set. If a band is like, I get about like 2 or 3 songs in, and then when they come back, if I give you, hey man, that was heavy. Like that is so undescript. It was heavy, man. It was real heavy. And like, you know, kids could be going off, and like we talked about it last night too. Like there was a lot being talked. We only had 90 miles. There was a lot talked last night. And Yeah, and you see these guys, and they're like, oh, man, they're starting to talk about, like, future plans. It's a little different than Brethren. So, like, future plans, like, oh, man, like, when we get in a bus, like, blah, blah, and it's like, man, it took me 12 years to get in a bus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm sure you have indie guys talk about, like, NXT and stuff like that, and it's like, whoa, dude, man, like, yeah.
like I know they're everywhere, but, like, you know, I'm from Cleveland, so, like, in that... There's this Cleveland bubble of just shitbags that, like, they've been around for years. Like, when I started, they'd already been around for years.
Every area has these guys.
Yeah, and they just live in this delusional mindset, like, where they think, like, WWE's going to come calling, but they don't go more than 20 miles to a show.
That was my favorite thing with bands. When I tell bands, I always use the analogy of... Everyone had that friend when you were a kid that would play, like, pickup baseball, football, whatever like that. He'd be a fucking killer, and then he would start talking about the NFL.
Yeah.
And then you have to, like, kind of put into context, like, you think a fucking NFL scout's going to be driving down Stenzel Street.
Yeah.
See you playing a field and go, holy
do a double
shit,
take.
This guy just diced up this fucking thing.
Yeah.
You got to get him out there.
Did you see his cuts? Whoa.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember, like, Carl Anderson did that a couple times. Like, we'd be at indie shows, and guys just start getting carried away with stuff and ideas, and he's like, guys, like, there's no scouts in the audience. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, you know, we're not going to, no matter what we do tonight, we're not going to change the game, you know? Like, let's be smart here.
Yeah.
I would like to segue into, do you want to talk about...
Hold on. Have you ever written the word segue?
No.
It's weird, man.
Is it SEGWAY?
No. It's SEGUE.
Yeah.
Really?
I always get confused by that.
It's so weird, man.
I drive for, like...
Does it have that little thing above the E or something?
No. I just wrote it, like, 3 weeks ago. And I was like... I kept doing Segway, which is a fucking shitty two-wheeled thing that you ride around with. And I kept writing it over and over again, over and over. You need one of those, Dan.
Yeah.
What, a Segway?
Totally.
A Segway.
Hoverboard is way better.
I don't know, man.
I actually bumps on it. It's great.
A Segway is great. Oh, yeah, I guess you could bump on it. Yeah.
Have.
Perfect, yeah.
What did,
Awesome.
Greg, what did you have us watch last night?
Oh, wait a second.
No.
Yeah, well, this is now the whole world.
Is that what we're segueing into?
Yeah,
okay,
totally.
Because that was like one of the things I wanted to get into.
Yeah,
was
I
like,
have to.
The reason why I feel like there's dudes I like in wrestling, and then there's dudes I consistently talk to in wrestling. It's the same thing with bands. In bands, there's probably about, and this is 20 years of touring, 10 people I like probably keep in contact with regularly from other bands and stuff like that. That's like regular, like once a week or whatever like that. In wrestling, it's like you guys, Dick. You know what I mean? Like I have like a short list of guys. Yeah. And like it's funny when you kind of like get that Step Brothers moment. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, do we just become best friends? Yeah. And like Greg has... I watch wrestling. I feel like me and Greg watch wrestling very similarly. Yeah, where it's like you can appreciate the really good stuff. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like you can watch Okada, Omega, and go like, "Oh, this is sick."
For sure.
But then
you can really appreciate
when you got Reno.
Oh yeah.
When you got Reno from WCW, late WCW, going against like golf gimmick Barry Darsow. It's also just as good as Okada.
Yeah. Well, see, I have a very morbid sense of humor, so I like all things like shitty. Now when it comes to wrestling, like is that like wrestler part of me that's like, man, I wish this didn't exist, but like there's that unintentional hilarity that I love behind it, where it's just like, oh, it's like one of those car wrecks where it's like it's bad, but you can't turn away. You know, so it's like B movies, bad wrestling. I'm all about that.
Yeah. The thing is that like, okay, you have to kind of like. What was the segment we had the other day? We had a segment. It was something not in context, but it was like
on paper.
On paper.
Yeah.
So it's like this little thing that we kept doing in this.
We're gonna do a little segment on paper.
So like on paper, like let's say, let's pick a movie. Okay. Okay. So here it is on paper. A man comes into a board of people that have money and says, "Guys, I'm going to make this movie. It's going to be the greatest monster movie of all time." The premise is a mad scientist is going to mix a croc with a gorilla. Go ahead. Think about it. And then some dickhead goes, I have $800,000.
Yeah, right.
Ready for this idea? Let's fucking do it.
Yep.
And like in wrestling, with what we're getting at right now, a piece of paper went over someone's desk and they read it and said, and I don't want to give the reveal here. I want you to give the reveal.
I don't want to give it away.
So I'm throwing you the piece of paper and you're going to read it out loud of what we watched last night.
So, Tank Abbott thinks it's a great idea that he works his former bodyguard from UFC who has no wrestling experience
Untrained.
or UFC experience. His name is Big Al. And I think we should build this to a pay-per-view. SuperBrawl 2000. What do you guys think?
And let's keep the name Big Al.
Yeah. We're not changing Big Al? Okay, good. Because it's a great name, especially now that, South Park is at its peak in 2000. I'm sure no one will make fun of the name Big Al for any reason.
Yeah, exactly, for no reason at all.
Like, what? I had seen this match years ago, and I must have pushed it to the back of my mind. But
I never watched it, and I just always heard about it, so I'm kind of grateful you made me watch it.
Yeah, so I started getting on this kick where I watched Nitros from 2000
Hold on.
because
you didn't give the stipulation.
Oh, I'm going to get to that.
Yeah, it's a slow build.
So I started watching these Nitros from 2000 with Ricky Shane Page because we just got bored, and I kind of checked out on WCW in 2000. Like, I watched all the pay-per-views and stuff for the most part, but I wasn't watching Nitro because it was so bad. Raw was great. So we started watching these Nitros, and it is abysmal, to say the least. And so they start doing this build for Tank Abbott versus this Big Al guy, and Big Al just keeps showing up in the crowd, and they would interview him in the front row.
Each other.
Yeah, and he would just mean mug Tank Abbott, and then they would randomly interview him, and he would be like, I don't respect Tank Abbott. He's sold out. He's sold out. And they're not really even telling you who. Oh, that's his former bodyguard. That's it, right?
Does a fighter need a bodyguard?
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I don't know, they randomly do a sit-down interview with Tank Abbott on one Nitro, and he's just like, Big Al, you used to be my friend, my bodyguard, I used to say, I'd give him the jacket off my back. Well, Big Al said, well, I could probably take the jacket off your back, so I guess we're going to have ourselves a skins match at SuperBrawl. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Match?
What the fuck kind of setup is that? That's just, I guess we're going to have that. Why is this happening? So, there's no interaction between them other than for 4 weeks. He just walked by them and they glare at each other. Yeah. And then he has this interview, and now we have this match on pay-per-view that if you want to see it, you have to pay, I think at the time, at least $29.99 to watch Tank Abbott versus Big Al.
Guys, one and only wrestling match ever is on a pay-per-view.
It has to be, because I was so intrigued by rewatching it that I did so much research on Big Al, and I can't find anything other than this match in SuperBrawl. So I can only assume he was not trained at all. And it appeared that this was his first time in a ring ever. Not even before the show did he even step in the ring.
He never took a bump or
his
anything.
entrance is good.
He struts to the ring wearing
super confident.
like a fucking black leather vest, which he's trying to win a black leather jacket, so I guess he wants to upgrade.
I thought that was funny too.
Here's the thing.
The sleeves.
Yeah, I guess.
The stipulation of this match was a skins match.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Does anyone, if you just say a skins match, what does that mean? Okay, two shirtless guys?
Yeah.
Because that's wrestling.
Yeah. Very confusing stipulation, but then once you see what it is, because it's Nitro in 2000, it's just a jacket on a pole.
Yeah.
It's a leather jacket on a pole. And it's a UFC jacket.
Yeah, the old UFC logo.
It's got an old UFC logo, which is real weird to see in 2017.
Yeah.
I know, when I saw it, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, so he comes out with his tribal tattoo on his arm, and he's strutting, and he's bald. A little bit of facial hair, but not much. Just a plain-looking guy that you feel like you would see at the bar, just hanging out, who gets cut off
your
at
family
closing
barbecue.
time. Yeah, he's like that uncle you don't want to acknowledge as part of your family. It's just real annoying to you. He's like, oh God, leave me alone. He tells
he's got horrible stories.
Yeah, you're a young kid, and he's talking about having sex with girls, but you feel uncomfortable about that. But he's really pushing the issue. He's that uncle. It's dude, leave me alone, please.
Stop.
He also is the guy that nobody gave him the nickname Big Al.
Yeah, he gave himself.
Yeah, he made it himself.
He's like, oh yeah, I like that.
Hey, I'm Big Al.
I'm Big Al. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, exactly.
What's up? I'm Big Al.
Like a real, the worst kind of human, right? So he gets in there, and then Tank Abbott comes out, and are we to tell the whole match? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's only.
So it's so they get in there, and they're audibly swearing, and it does not get bleeped.
like
it's very
instantly.
So
But
like
the thing is, people at the WB network aren't watching that match either.
oh, they can't be.
Yeah,
So
it's like-
so
we're
you know,
going to pick up on it.
so for some reason, Big Al takes off his belt as the opening spot.
Okay, hang on.
Oh,
a second.
yeah.
As this was happening,
Yep.
I had no idea where this was gonna go.
Neither did I.
They're lined up. Big Al takes his belt off. I'm like, holy shit, he's gonna whip Tank with
Yeah,
that.
there's like zero
There's
physicality.
there's a lot of that. There's a lot of like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
like
that's kind of interesting.
So, so they're like
It's an interesting
It's
circling.
a different way to go about it.
They're circling, and Tank's like, "Let's fucking go!" And it's audible, and it's like, and then Big Al's saying, "Let's bring some shit to the table." And again, this is not being bleeped. And so he takes off the belt. So he goes to do something with the belt, and they lock hands.
Yeah, like
and
they're
then
an
he
arm wrestle.
And then he drops the belt.
Yep.
So then Tank just lets him pick up the belt, and he's like, "All right,
Yeah.
like we'll try this again."
Let's lock it up.
So then they wrap the belt around each other's hands, around their left hand, the right hand. So then they only have their left hands available, and they
Just
start punching each other
throwing potatoes
in the head. And at one point, like just Big Al gives him like probably one of the worst strikes I've ever seen. But for some reason, Tank Abbott goes down,
Knocks him
and
unconscious.
he's
Yeah.
dead. Like when you see the Undertaker do the cell right before the sit up, that's what Tank Abbott's doing because he
Yeah.
doesn't know how to wrestle as well. He only has slightly more training than Big Al. So he's just laying there dead. So then Big Al, he's got this light bulb comes on, and
This is so good.
he wants to do something. So he appears to start pulling Tank Abbott from the outside to the post, like he's gonna give him a ball buster. He even says like, "I'm a busted balls. I'm a
He
busted
said, "Yeah, I'm
balls."
a
And,
busted balls.
So
Called it out.
Yeah, I literally said that.
So he's about to pull him into the post, and then he stops, and he pulls away, and he starts smiling. He goes, "Nah, too good for him.
Yeah.
Too good for him." Like what?
Big
Yeah,
setup.
just gave up
Huge
on
setup.
it.
So let me get this
Nope.
straight. So hitting a man in the testicles is probably one of the most painful things you could do.
yeah.
But that's too good for him. So what exactly are you gonna do that's
Wait,
not good for him?
Mind you, this guy's wearing like not wrestling.
Not at all.
Dad jeans.
He's straight up wearing like fucking like iron worker fucking like boots.
Boots, jeans, and a black leather
Like
vest.
straight up just boots.
So Tank Abbott is positioned in the corner where the pole is. So
Still on like a dead cell.
still
Like,
on a dead cell. And
Yeah.
Big Al, in theory, because the object of the match is to climb the pole and grab the jacket, he looks up and he can grab the jacket. So you're thinking like, oh yeah, he's just gonna grab the jacket. Then
well,
he looks
the best was you paused it.
I had
and
to
you
pause
went. You
it.
went around the room.
because
Tank's
he
laid out unconscious. Big Al standing on the bottom rope looking up at the jacket, and you're like, all right, what do you think's going to happen at this
Yep,
point?
yep.
Everybody's answer is, yeah, he's probably going to try to climb the pole to get the jacket. And then keep it.
But nope. So he looks back. He's got something devious in mind. What's he gonna do? This motherfucker. He takes a step back and puts one foot on Tank Abbott's face, and then he proceeds to put the other foot on Tank Abbott's face.
Like just straight up pencil standing.
Just
like
he
straight.
Just standing
puts
on his
both of
face.
his feet together on his face.
And at this point in time, he's holding himself up by the ropes.
He's holding himself
Yeah,
up the ropes,
and then let's go.
And again, it looks like it's his first time in a ring, so he's thinking to himself like, "Oh man, like I'm actually touching ring ropes. I'm standing on a guy's face. What do I do in this moment?" So he just simply takes his hands off the ropes for a second, and goes, "Rah!" Like, he's so happy that like he's having this moment, and puts his hands back on the ropes
To balance.
so he can balance, and then he "Rah!" does it one more time, and then Tank Abbott kind of like shrugs him off, and
he
he
was
is
pissed.
shoot pissed, like so angry.
You remember like you know like this is like the worst because it's gonna make me feel like I got like touched when I was a kid or something. Like you know like when you were getting tickled when you were a kid. And it just gets to that point where you're like, I'm over this. And then, like, you're like, fucking get off me, man. Like, it
I don't even
happens
tickled anymore.
at, like, 40 when, like, chicks try to, like, tickle me. I'm just like, that's funny. Okay, fucking stop. And then, like, that's what happened with Tank. Like,
Yeah, like, enough, I look stupid.
the real fucking monster came out like, you're standing on my fucking face.
Yep. So he says, I think he says the F word again, and then he starts punching Big Al, and then he gives him like
But,
a
like,
judo throw.
blasting him.
He's blasting him, and then he gives him like 2 shots against the ropes where I'm just like, oh, he might have legit knocked him out. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And so Big Al goes down, and then
This is great. This is the best.
so
like
again,
it's better.
so the object of the match again is to climb the pole. You can just do it by yourself. Climb the pole, and you grab the leather jacket, and you win. But no, much like Big Al said earlier, it's too good for him.
Too good for him.
It's too good for him. So he puts Big Al on his shoulders, and he's gonna try to climb to the top rope while balancing Big Al and then grabbing his leather jacket. Like, that was his idea for the finish.
Hey, to be honest with you, Big Al actually is pretty big.
Yeah.
I was actually impressed by Tank carrying him up. I mean, he gets to the top rope with Big Al on his shoulders, like over one shoulder, like
sure
not
does.
like fireman's carry. He's carrying him over one shoulder.
Yep.
Okay.
So he's climbing, and he gets to the top rope, and he's reaching up for the jacket, and then Tank starts losing his balance.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like every time you watch it, I mean, it's going at a regular pace, but it's kind of going in slow motion because you're like, no, he's going to drop this motherfucker. And so then...
The stairs are right there.
Yeah, the stairs are right there. So, like, Tank is, like, leaning to the left, and he's trying to save Big Al from dying. So he kind of, like, leans into the post that's positioned where the leather jacket's hanging on, and he's trying to save him, but he can't. And he just drops Big Al all the way to the floor. And it looks insane. The fact that Big Al didn't die from this is incredible.
It could have ended up way worse. Like,
Big Al might have been a stunt man.
He
landed all right.
It was okay.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite part of that is Tank Abbott being the grizzled veteran. He's like, well, I got to cover this up. What do I do? So he jumps down off the top rope and just gives him a punch to the chest while he's laying there to Big Al. Boom, punch in the chest. And Tony Schiavone starts audibly laughing. And he just says, he just gave him a punch in the chest. And, then, and he goes back up the top, grabs the jacket. And
then this is my favorite
So
part.
you think the match is over, right? No. Tank Abbott clearly has gone into business for himself. Because for some reason, he has put a switchblade into his leather jacket.
Hey, very cool.
And he busts it out. Boom.
Very good idea.
He comes down off the top rope.
Kicks the trainer out of the way.
Kicks the trainer out of the way, and he audibly says, again, not bleeped even on the network, he goes, he holds the knife to Big Al's throat, and he goes, I should kill you. I should fucking kill you. And immediately, WCW...
right back.
Yeah, as bad as
pan the
WCW
crowd.
was, they start panning the crowd, and then there's awkward silence, and Tony Schiavone tries to save it. And he goes, I think he pulled out a pair of scissors. He's trying to cut off his goatee or something. Big Al does not have a goatee.
No.
He's a bald man. There's no way.
I didn't put that together. He doesn't have a goatee.
Yeah, so... and that was the match, and so I'm glad that I got to share that with the world now on this podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I got to share it with you guys. I've watched that match so many times over the last month. I think the proudest thing that's going to happen with this match is, I showed you guys last weekend. I was in Florida and I showed Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Ruby Riott, and
Tommaso, you said?
no, not Tommaso.
Okay.
And I showed those guys, and Johnny told me that sometime in the near future he's going to show Shawn Michaels that match at the Performance Center. And I said, Johnny, the moment you do that, you let me know, and I expect full credit because I'm just so proud that apparently Shawn Michaels, especially around that time, he wasn't watching wrestling, because obviously he was in the business. So Johnny's gonna build it up as this like 5-star classic.
Yes.
And then show Shawn Michaels and get his opinion. So like I'm very proud to know that like I
had something
essentially basically showed Shawn Michaels one of the best worst matches in the history of professional wrestling, and I can't wait to hear his reaction.
I can't wait to hear his reaction.
Yeah, we were explaining last night like how WCW was at that time. So like again, back to putting it on paper, they're like booking this card. They're like, all right, we got Tank versus Big Al in a skins match.
Yep.
We'll segue that right into a guy named Big T.
Big T. Yeah. Yep.
Like,
why not?
Big Al right into Big T.
Yep.
Like, come on, man.
And some of those nitros, like not that pay-per-view particularly, but some of those nitros, Big T is wearing the most ridiculous outfits.
Oh,
like,
man.
Like I posted a photo on Twitter. Like if you go back a couple days and look for it, like he's wearing like this baby blue or like purple, like it almost looks like pajamas, and they're so tight on him. And I'm just like, what is this guy? And he's super serious, like
real intense.
I don't know, man.
I mentioned
2000.
I'm like obsessed with Chronic right now. And because there was like a thing like at that time, like did you notice like what I was talking about with those sunglasses. There's those sunglasses.
Yeah, they're real tight. Real tight to the face.
Tight to the bone of they follow the
almost
bone.
like they're tailor-made.
They're like eye bone.
Like the Hollywood Hogan sunglasses.
Yeah,
like everyone was wearing.
Everyone was wearing those at that time, and like some dudes like looked really cool, and then other dudes were just like, it doesn't fit your huge head. Like Scott Norton would wear those, and it was like, Scott, like, you already look like a badass.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now you look like
you don't have to wear the glasses.
Virgil was wearing them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody wore them.
And I think Virgil would do the ones with like the white outline.
Yeah. And then but Chronic had those, but they also both had like little tiny goatees, which was like a huge thing, like a just for men tiny goatee,
real cute.
And then the fact that Chronic had run-in gear, like gear where like when they weren't wrestling.
We just watched it this morning. It was Brian Clark was having a match, so he was in gear.
Versus Norman Smiley.
Hardcore match versus Norman Smiley.
I've seen that match.
And then Brian Clark was with him, but Brian Clark was in the promo gear, the black pants, black shirt.
Yeah, very tight
sunglasses, real tight sunglasses.
So cool. Like I said, kind of, if the Matrix was like made by like Weeder Sport, like some sort of like Muscle Tech or something like that. Like Muscle Tech comes out with a movie, and it's like featuring Chronic, and then like they're so cool, man. And all it was just like, Brian Adams is on gear, so he's on steroids right now, so we'll give him this thing with this other guy that obviously is on steroids.
They look like an awesome tag team.
Chronic, they were fucking awesome. And we're gonna give them like a weed background, but they never talk about weed. There was like
I forgot that their finisher was High Times.
Like, but again, like on paper, like it came across someone's desk, and they're like,
two gigantic guys. Let's give them everything that has to do with weed.
This works. Here you go. You know,
they used to reference 420 a lot in their promos.
They probably didn't. The management probably didn't even realize they were making weed references with that. There's no way.
Exactly. No. Like, it's gonna be 420.
Yeah, it just went over their heads. You know.
Hey, that pump handle slam though.
Oh, sick!
Fire.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He was over.
Yeah.
He's still over. He was also over as Atom Bomb. That was when me and my best friend were kids.
Yeah.
He was the bigger guy. I was the smaller guy. Like that was our. What we're always we're gonna be wrestlers. We're gonna be wrestlers. Yep. Like he was gonna be the wrestler. Basically, he wanted to be Atom Bomb, and I wanted to be his manager. I wanted to be Johnny Polo. That was amazing. Like our yeah.
I don't know if any two kids in the history of life besides you two said they wanted to be both Johnny Polo and Atom Bomb.
Probably,
that'd be incredible.
Yeah, with those goggles.
Wow, it's crazy.
I'm just looking out for you, Greg. It's 12:42.
Whatever. I'm having fun, man.
40 minutes away.
You guys going to Alpha 1?
Yeah, we got Alpha 1 today. Yeah, it's going to be pretty fun. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
What do you got going on today?
It's me versus Space Monkey for the Zero Gravity title. And I got to say, Space Monkey is a piece of garbage. And
I'm coming for you.
He's very disrespectful to me. I don't know why small children like him. He's a stupid monkey from outer space. I don't even know how that works. I'm an inspiration. Probably the most inspirational athlete in the history of wrestling. So, I mean, he should just lay down and give me the Zero Gravity title, quite frankly. And, if he doesn't do that, I'm just going to have to, hit him with handicap parking. Bam. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, there you go.
Brother, I'm sold.
Yep.
You got me.
Yeah.
You got me hooked. Can I ask you about, I've never talked about this. Now, you and Ricky Shane Page had a dog collar match there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you had that, like, old Pro Wrestling Illustrated... like thick
when I thought
Crimson Mask color.
You had Cactus Jack in the fucking King of Death match.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That
tournament.
Did you have problems seeing?
Yes.
Because I've had small color, and I remember like being like, oh, my contacts are all blurry. And I was like, oh, that's right, I'm bleeding. So I can't imagine something like that.
It was real bad. And
are you guys having trouble seeing with me and Dan's milky thighs out right now?
Yeah, they look like they're glowing. They're glowing.
Just looked down at his leg and then looked at mine. I was like, okay. We are white.
So I don't
For
know.
about 3 days before our match yesterday, I was like, Andy, you gonna go to the tanning bed?
Oh,
He's like, I'm going to the gym. I'm like, cool, you gonna hit the tanning bed after?
Just trying to get it. We're trying to be 2017's Chronic.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That was the greatest thing I ever heard. Like, I mean, if you can't be Chronic, at least try to be the Harris brothers. I'm okay with that too. Just got to get real racist tattoos.
Yeah.
Which you're halfway there because of the Asian nickname.
It's not a tattoo, though. I don't have War Pig Asian tattoo.
I've just said
she
it
was
3
an
times.
Asian girl that would get mad and angry and then stage dive.
I get it.
She was a pitter. She pit a lot. She went in the mosh pit.
I understand. I mean, I'm not saying you're a full-on racist. But,
Okay.
Let's go back to your sick
dog
color.
Dog collar. Yeah, so we built this dog collar match because basically I was teaming with Ricky Shane Page, and I'm a bad guy. And it's kind of... So Ricky in real life was like dealing with like depression issues and anxiety, and so he like started taking medication. So to kind of help him cope with it, Alpha One and myself were kind of like, hey, why don't we make a story out of it? So I need help winning some gold in Alpha One, so I start drugging Ricky, and I tell him, hey man, I'm basically the pusher. Like, hey, take these pills. I've been through depression myself. You take these pills, you'll feel better. And it sounds more ridiculous when I actually verbalize this, but so I give him these pills, but they're not really depression pills. They're actually for me to kind of control him.
Oh, mind-altering pills?
Yeah, I got them made by a scientist named Jim Nye, the science guy.
Oh, yeah.
So he's an evil scientist.
Yeah.
That gets revealed later, obviously.
His medical works are very big in the area.
Yeah.
Tag team partner.
Very highly touted.
2 doctors.
So he gives me these pills, and I'm drugging Ricky, so he basically does whatever I say, and he's helping me win tag titles and keep the tag titles, but I'm taking all the credit, and I never let him hold the belts and stuff. I'm a real egomaniac, and eventually he gets wise to what I'm doing, and he stops taking the pills, and he gives me a huge choke breaker, and so then he challenges me to this dog collar match, and I don't know, like, I watched a few dog collar matches leading up to it just because I was like, what can we do? Like, I don't want to do stuff that's been done.
Did you watch Piper and Valentine?
I did, and that's brutal. And I watched a couple others, but I felt like psychology-wise, not a lot of guys actually like utilize the dog collar in a way where, I don't know, for like how do you
leverage?
For leverage, yeah. So like I feel like it's more so just like it's a hardcore match, but we also have a dog collar to it. So I wanted to kind of utilize that. So we came up with like some pretty unique spots, like especially the cutoff that which got Ricky busted open, which was he powders me out of the ring, and he's chasing me, like he's giving me shots, and I'm like selling all around 4 sides, and eventually like I slide into the ring and go around the post so like I could try to get some leverage on the collar inside the ring to pull him into the post, but he's way bigger than me. He's like 6'4", and I'm 5'4", and he weighs like 300 pounds, and I'm $135. So I'm trying to pull him, and I can't do it. So he tries to pull me in the post, and I stop myself, and I'm holding on. So eventually he gets frustrated, and he comes walking towards me. So when he does that, I rake his eyes, and the ref is right behind me. So I look at him, and I do a double take, and then I put the chain around his neck, like the back of his neck, and I push the ref, and I run with the ref, so like I got some leverage with me and the ref. So as I push him, Ricky goes boom into the post, and that busts him open, and now all of a sudden I got him reeling so I can get in the ring, and I'm like bumping, and I'm pulling him back in the post a couple times, blah, blah, blah. So eventually we're getting to the point where I got to get color too, and I've only done it 3 or 4 times before that in 11 years, and I try to only do it when it matters. And I felt like this match kind of needed. There was never even like blood in Alpha One ever in like the 7 or 8 years they've been running.
So that's the one time.
So
made it count.
So and I had always done it myself, but I trust.
Did Ricky do it?
So I trust Ricky. So Ricky's like, I can do it for you. So I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, because there's like count on one hand number of guys that I would let.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can imagine the fear in my heart when it happens, and he takes out the railroad spike, and he does it, but then he's like cutting me, and as soon as the cut happens, like I feel it, and he goes, oh fuck, sorry, and instantly it's like blah, like down my face. So I'm like, what the fuck? And my first thought was Eddie Guerrero, Judgment Day 2004. Yeah, because like him and JBL, and there was like so much blood. And like so like
that's pretty much what you had.
but I wasn't scared, and like
cool,
and like Ricky kept saying like
I forgot because Guerrero's was real fast too.
Dude, yeah, and so like Ricky was like, don't freak out, but in retrospect, I think Ricky was trying to convince
freaked
himself,
out than you were. Yeah,
because like I was like, all right, just keep going. What's the next spot? And like the worst part was just the blood getting in my eyes because I kept having to blink over and over to try to get it out of my eyes.
Yep.
And at one point, instantly, not only was there a lot of blood, but it was like, it was. How do you say it? Coagulating?
Yeah, coagulating.
Like so
you
quickly
Is
that
that
like
where it gets thick?
Oh yeah, it like just dries up like to the point where I didn't want to peel too much off of it in the match, but I was feeling it. And then afterwards, like literally, it was like peeling a face mask off my face, like and just like I could just flick it, and it was like completely thick and like almost like a jelly, you know?
Yeah.
It's, if you guys don't know who Greg is, he's got like stunning blue eyes.
Thank you very much.
So I remember the pictures after.
That's a
where,
good
like,
point, yeah.
You were like staring with your eyes open, and like the whole,
It's
just
just
the
red
difference
with
of
blue
like
eyes,
how
yeah.
dark the blood was,
Yeah.
and then how bright blue your eyes were.
Thank you. It really brings out my eyes.
Yeah.
Was like,
sure that was your intent.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
I wasn't. It was scary.
Yeah.
But I think it was very scary. Like, small children were starting to leave with their parents.
Oh,
and,
I was gonna say like
the
because
room was a little uncomfortable.
that's what I was just gonna
of course.
ask was like I would imagine it wasn't one of those like pops like whoa like it was probably like real uncomfortable and,
Yeah,
like I think something's wrong here
And I don't know, like I just knew like visually it was gonna be cool, and I wore like these shitty acid wash jeans that were like white, and like I knew like it was gonna get.
Also, you were
covered in
like
blood.
kind of like in bunkhouse.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
like I mean, it turned out better than I thought. And then afterwards, like the finish was, and it's funny in retrospect because I asked Ricky what he wanted to do, and he's like, "Oh, pile driver off the top rope to the table." And anyone else, I'm like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah.
And then I was just like, "Okay, I didn't question
I've
it."
seen him do it before.
And so no, he usually does the power bomb.
Oh yeah.
So then people thought like he had botched it, but like it was definitely meant to be a pile driver.
That
and
picture is insane.
and so
Yeah.
afterwards, like I don't know, just all the pictures that came out and everything, like it looked really scary, but I felt like it was probably one
it's
of
a
my
moment
best
for you.
performances.
I gotta say
of
this
all
though,
time.
like, because now is in wrestling, it's like and everybody's heard the guy in the back that just wants the fucking gif.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where like no one really talks about pictures anymore. And when you were a kid, when you could like read Pro Wrestling Illustrated or something like that, you like open it up and you're like, oh shit, and you see one picture.
It was all
like,
pictures.
holy fuck!
Oh,
like
yeah.
that one picture speaks 1,000 words. Where you're
Yeah.
like, oh my god, that was a match where like I'm so glad that not a lot of GIFs came out.
Yeah, it wasn't-
because the
yeah.
pictures were
Pictures
so fucking
That's a good
polarizing.
point. Way better.
Yeah.
It just made like every picture in that match.
It leaves more to the imagination.
Spoke 1,000 words.
Yeah.
We're like, holy shit, that picture. It's like I think it's you. Like Ricky has you in the air, like, and it's just about ready to hit the table.
Oh yeah.
And it's like you're like the chain is in there.
Yeah.
The blood's
There's so
in
much
there.
going on.
The table's there.
It's ridiculous.
And you just like there's height. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like It was like there was height to it.
Yeah.
Like the picture itself was just like, oh
Yeah.
my god. And then when I actually saw it, I was like, fuck, man. Like the payoff was great. Like it made me want to watch the match.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh yeah, here's a guy like holding another guy in a suplex. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay.
And
Yeah.
I think like I mean, there was so much blood that like immediately after the match was over, you know, I was just gonna dead cell and like have people get me out of there. But like immediately, there's no barricades at Alpha One, so the fans started coming to the ring once Ricky was gone, started pounding the mat and going, Greg, and I was like, oh fuck,
wow.
I was like, I got to get out of here because like, while I appreciate that, that's not what we want to do right now. Like, do not babyface me because that's not what we want. Because like,
Yeah.
I was legitimately drugging a man. That's the storyline. I was
Yeah,
saying this.
yeah.
He just got his revenge.
I know I took a beating.
And I know, like, I took thumbtacks and I bled and I went through a table, 2 tables actually. But please don't cheer me. So I had to almost like get out of there as quick
I just think
as
it's cool that
could.
you recognize that.
Yeah. Like,
There's a lot of guys.
and it meant a lot to me because, like, again, like, I don't know. I put a lot of heart and passion in what I do, and I feel like sometimes I feel like I have a better wrestling mind than a wrestling body, and we're all our own biggest critics. And
Yep.
I don't consider myself the greatest athlete in the history of wrestling, but I work hard and I take a lot of pride in
You're
my
a storyteller.
craft. Yeah, and I just I really appreciate when, like, you know, my peers, you know, compliment what I do and the fans respect what I do, and because like I don't know, I feel like my whole career has been about defying expectations. Like, you know, you tell me I can't lift weights, I'm going to lift weights and I'm going to be in better shape than any able-bodied wrestler. You tell me I can't be a wrestler, well, I'm definitely going to be a wrestler. I'm going to be able to tell good stories and have good matches. You tell me I can't be a bad guy because it defies logic. Why would you boo a handicap guy? I'm going to be the best handicap bad guy you've ever seen in
There
your
you
life.
go.
I'm going to be the best bad guy on the roster, you know? So it's like, I just try to be the best in every situation that to my ability.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I
That's
do
like
wanna-
one of my favorite things. Like when I first came to my first AIW show, I remember seeing you come out in like the shitty high shorts with Alex, and just like the walk.
Yeah.
It's just the walk where like one of my favorite. You do this. I'm just gonna keep putting your looks over.
I appreciate
You do this. You do this like there's this one shitty smile, and it's like the I'm trying to think of who you know what I'm talking about,
yeah.
Dan. So like, there's this one shitty smile, and it's so reminiscent to like when like good heels in wrestling, when they're acting, is like, you know, like you look at Flair, there's like little things that Flair do that did over the years where it's like, even if it's something as easy as like fixing the button on his jacket
sure.
or like touching like his like collar, that smile is like when Alex is like doing something cool or he's in there, you kind of do this like little look back and you do this like little smile like when he's in there, or like when Marty's getting in the ring or something like that. There's like this shitty little smile, and I just remember like that was better to me than the matches. You know what I mean? Where it's like seeing your reactions on the side because you weren't in the match the first time I went. Like it was just like your outside.
I love that stuff.
It's the best. Like and like that's the shit that like I think holds people apart. And I feel like with me being as new to this as I am, things come as I go, where it's like, I always say this to Jesse, like when Jesse's like, oh man, like I noticed that the shit we worked on last training session, you did it in the match. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I only have so much time. Like I'm 40. So like, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do this for. I don't have the time to like go, I have to be conscious of it. You know what I mean? Like, of that.
Yes.
There's something of, like, getting reps, being around for a while, finding yourself, where, like, then you have that confidence, just, like, walk out, have that smile.
Yeah.
Know that, like, one little movement is going to sell something.
Yep.
Where, you know, when you're a kid, or a grown kid, you think that the biggest movement is going to be something that's exponentially larger than just the tiniest bit, like a look or like something like that. Like talking to Big Bill last night, like I asked Bill Collier to watch my match. I was like, you're one of the best big guys in the area.
For sure.
Like, tell me how to be big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when it comes back, there's like super simple things. Like had a guy in the corner and like I just walked to the corner and started punching him. He's like, dude, take time, be big, walk to the corner. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to rush to the corner. You know what I mean? Like just shit like that. It's like, when you're in a match, you're just like when you're young, or
you just want to go.
It's like I'm gonna move, you know. And that was like just stuff like that, like saying like when you came out, you give this little thing, you let it breathe, you let the crowd like react to like every little movement, and then there's a sense of like knowing where the crowd is. So it's like, okay, I don't have him with this. I'm gonna try this little thing. Oh, I got him. Let's do it again. You know what I mean? And there's like certain times and like. It's really weird. Like a crowd is like when you know you have a crowd, you know you can like ramp up and just go. And like if it's that type of crowd that's like, oh fuck, like here we go, we have to do a million things. It's like that type of crowd. They're reacting to fucking everything. Yeah. So it's like you can have that like bop match, and then there's like crowds that are like, I'm not really sold on this.
Yeah,
and then
definitely
like,
got to know your audience.
Yeah, and then you can feel it like, all right, they're up. Something big happens. Boom, they're up. Oh, whoa. And then like the match is a crescendo instead of like something that just goes.
Yeah, go. You got you got to peaks and valleys.
Yeah, and like that's like to me, like Bill kind of like put it into perspective last night. He's like, oh, you're still thinking.
Yeah. Which
like
that just comes with time.
Or like you guys,
that's the reps thing.
It's just
it'll go away.
It's just natural to like go out and you just know you have you know how the crowd is going to be. You know how to read a crowd immediately as soon as you open the I don't know. I just like walked out. I was like, God, these people hate me. No one knows who the fuck I am. I'm just some band guy. That's what they think. I can't wrestle.
Great confidence.
You know what I mean? Like out and I'm like trying to look hard, but I'm like, oh my God, they're looking at me, and they think I'm like Elton John.
Well, I think
they think I look like Elton John. I'm trying to look like I'm trying to look like the bass player of Ozzy.
I just feel like there's a lot of moving parts to being a wrestler, and I feel like people that don't understand wrestling or don't want to try to understand wrestling, like obviously they never will, but it's like if you only knew what goes through my mind, like when I come through the curtain. Like just the idea, like, and it all comes in time once you put all the pieces together, because it's like, no, I'm not just remembering a match. I have to have backup plans on the fly in case this guy fucks something up.
Yep.
I have to be like thinking about my positioning, my timing, where the hard camera is, where the floor camera is, just like what kind of mannerism I'm going to do to the crowd. I'm constantly thinking about stuff, and this is in the confines of 15 minutes. I have to, all the stuff is going through my brain to make sure I don't get hurt. It's a lot going on. So like for people that just like, oh, wrestling's fake, or oh, I could do that, it's like, no, you could never do what we do, because it's like it takes so much hard work.
I want to say this too, and like obviously I was just putting over your looks, now I'm going to put you over as a man. And I think like the big thing with you is obviously like people see the handicap first. I don't even think of the handicap. Like, I think of, like,
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's, like, not even a thing where, like, you know your body and you know your character so well that overlooks, I don't even think of it. It's like, oh, yeah, this guy's whatever. And then, like, someone's like, oh, yeah, Greg, he's handicapped, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean shit.
I feel like I have to remind the crowd that I'm disabled.
For sure.
You know what
I mean, obviously. But at the same time, it's like, for me, I'm fucking 6'3", I weigh 245 pounds. That was given to me, you know, through genetics.
Sure.
It's easy. You know what I mean? Where for me, it's like, I don't have to do that much to make a statement. Where people don't have to, you have to understand that, like, Greg already told you how big he is. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He has to work 10 times harder to sell that. If we and him were wrestling, it's like, it would be like he's taking on a mountain. You know what I mean? Where like with me, one strike means more than like him has to kick me and punch me and do shitty things and stuff like that.
And it took me a long time to figure out like what was the best stuff for me to do and not to do, because you know I trained with Gargano, so like Gargano would always come to training with like 3 or 4 new moves. So like my mindset being a young kid was always, oh well, shit, I need 3 or 4 new moves, But then, like, once I stopped to think, like, oh, well, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time is Shawn Michaels, but my absolute favorite is Hulk Hogan. He doesn't do dick. Once I realized that and, like, just started, like, figuring out, instead of trying to do it a drop kick that I don't do well at all just because Johnny does it, like, I take the few moves I could do and, like, worked on transitions in between and, like, just figuring out how to tell a story, and then taking little things from, like, Shawn Michaels or Chris Jericho, like, transitions that, like, I could actually do and pull off, because I can't do a super kick. Once I could take the little stuff and apply it to what I did as a performer, like, I felt like, you know, it took me some years, but I was able to put together the total package of, like, being able to make people forget, at least for a little bit, that I have cerebral palsy, and they just look at me as a wrestler. It's a good feeling.
And that's exactly it. That's what I was like getting at. It's like, even the size thing, I don't even think of it at all either, because it's just, you're so good at telling that story or whatever story you're going to get. It doesn't matter. And like, that's what was kind of cool about how wrestling was before, like, I think like 1996, right around there, was that like there were dudes that looked like guys on your street that were just great, with Dick Murdoch's, you know what I mean? Like dudes like that. And like the commentators would be like, oh, we got Dick Murdoch here. And they would make such a big deal out of that. And then Dick Murdoch would come out and you'd be like, he doesn't look like Hogan. But then the work comes out and you're like, holy shit, like this guy's fucking awesome.
He obviously knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and it's, I think that's like, that's what being a good wrestler is. It's not being like, oh man, I got 500 moves that I can do, and I'm gonna try to do all of them right now.
It's like, like you said with Greg, like you almost forget that he has a handicap, or like I remember somebody saying, I never thought of that before. Like once Samoa Joe, when he was in TNA, it was like he could do the X Division stuff and fit in there. But then he would work with like Nash and like main event guys, and he could do that too. And you never really noticed the difference. It was like, that's a really good point.
I did get to a really weird point, because right now I got the Fight Network thinking that Smash was already going to be on it. It is not. You have to watch it live. So they have all the TNA pay-per-views on there. It's like crazy. Like for $2.99. This isn't an ad, but like for $2.99 or something like that, you can get the Fight Network, and you have all the TNA pay-per-views on there. So I went back and watching all the pay-per-views, and there's like weird section of Samoa Joe where he had like a fake tattoo on his face and was wearing like this like Waterworld jacket.
Yeah, it was real weird.
Was Taz with him too?
Not at that point.
It's something, he had like a nickname too, something of violence or something like that.
It was real weird.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember there was a backstage skit where he has somebody like hung upside down. Yeah, and he's like talking shit to him.
And then that was like right around the time when Jarrett and Angle were working, and it was right around the time when the wife swap happened.
Very real.
And it was like fuck. Like there was a couple things where I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, how the fuck.
Karen Jarrett just told me before they used to film that stuff, she would throw up because it was like, you know, she was like, we were getting along at the time, but it was so real and like stressful. She would throw up before they would film that stuff.
Like true drama. Like there was like a point where she got thrown downstairs or something.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Like, it was real, man.
And like Angle's sitting at the top and they're just swearing. Like, fuck you, man, fuck you.
It's real.
Jarrett's like looking up at Angle like, I'm gonna get you, motherfucker. Like just like it was like, oh my god, dude. And you're talking shit to an Olympic wrestler. This guy could murder you at any point, Jeff Jarrett. Like, holy shit.
Greg, I wanted to say, you touched on it earlier, but I'm gonna rewind. Yeah. Like every time I see, another cool thing is like every time I see you at ESW,
we're just gonna jerk you. I'm actually jerking. Yeah. I'm actually jerking Greg
as I say this. I just saw I'll see you walk by. I was like, God, Greg's jacked, man. He was fucking awesome. Like I like it that you're, you know, because I knew before you were having some injury problems, and then, like I'm glad that you bounced back because it was like, man, Greg looks fucking awesome.
And it just goes back to like, I don't know. I don't think I was ever really like, I wasn't like fat or anything, but I just felt like I wasn't in the shape I needed to be, so
you were just a guy.
Yeah. So like I just
were you actually heavier back then?
A year ago I weighed 158, and today I sit here about 135.
It's one of those things again, but you actually look bigger.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Do you feel better?
I feel great, man. And it comes down to I've been doing a lot of strength and conditioning training on top of just my regular workouts.
Just check out Greg's Instagram; it's good stuff.
Yeah, with this guy Vince. He used to be a wrestler. He owns this place called Fit Legit Training.
I checked it out from your Instagram last week, and it's good stuff.
I go there.
I feel like if you're gonna get strength and conditioned, you're gonna go to a guy named Vince.
For sure, Vince, he's the man.
He's the man.
Like he's like very intense, but like very supportive and helpful, and I credit a lot of what he's done with me just to give me more confidence. Like with weightlifting, I'm like, I feel like I'm a lot lighter and I'm lifting a lot lighter weight. But when it comes down to it, like just like heavy bags and balls, like I'm able to like carry.
I think you were carrying like 75-pound ball or something.
Yeah, which again, like doesn't seem like much, but when you consider I got one good arm, I weigh 135, and for the most part, that's really awkward for me to hold with like basically one arm to try to maneuver it. Like it was like a big milestone for me. That was a couple weeks ago.
That's what you were like carrying it, walking with it, then you drop it, push ups, pick it back up.
Yeah, go back, and I think I had to do like 10 burpees on the other side. I did that for like 10 sets or some shit, and it's just like it's the workouts are usually like 15 to 25 minutes, and I don't know, it's just helped me like physically, like cardio wise. Like I feel like I never get blown up as a wrestler anymore.
But that sounds insane. Like for some people to think like, oh, 15 to 25 minute workout. Like I've done stuff like that before, and like you're 10 minutes in and you're already looking at the clock.
For
like,
sure.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I gotta try not to look at the clock sometimes.
Dude, sandbag workouts are insane. Is that what you're talking about?
Sometimes we do sandbags. Stuff. Yeah.
Like, have you ever done shit like that?
No.
Oh, they're fucking awesome. Like when you have like the flat sandbag.
Because it's super awkward.
It's great.
Yeah.
But you can do a lot of stuff that like a clean to a press.
Yeah, but
with
it's
those,
just weird weight.
But it feels better. Like it naturally falls in your hand.
That makes
Unlike
sense.
a bar where like a bar is like jarring and
Yeah.
then up, and your arms kind of have to stay in like a certain like I don't know, like a certain like position where like with a sandbag it just kind of goes where you naturally do it. Same thing with a ball. Like if you do like wall balls.
Yeah.
Like there was like Brad Cardoza, the strength and conditioning coach I know, he was saying that like if you, like for me on tour, like if I brought one ball on tour, he's like, dude, you would get jacked and strong.
Yeah.
If you just did like wall balls, smashes, like shit like that, like just easy movements, but you're doing everything in one.
Yeah, full body movements.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Greg, I feel like you were being very nice, but we should get you out of here.
Okay, that's fine.
Someone did ask to talk about fucking diets, but I told them we talked about it on Laura. Because did you change your diet at all? I'm sorry to cut you off.
That's actually...
yeah, like, and I feel like everyone, like...
I'm sucking every bit of you right now.
No worries, I love it. Feels good. I feel like there's really no secret. Like, everyone, like, wants, like, this big secret to, like, I don't know, get lean and stuff, and, like, I just... count my calories. Like I consume like 1750 a day. Sometimes I go a little, like I put my calories lower so that way if I go a little over, like it's no big deal. Like 50 grams of fat, like
I've never counted calories before.
Yeah,
that's like so it's like a macros kind of thing.
Yeah, I got like the MyFitnessPal on my
Laura
phone,
does that too.
And I feel like just I've been using it for a long time, but I just feel like I wasn't doing it, I don't know, properly, I guess, or like just what was unique and right for myself. So like just don't eat garbage all day. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
You pretty much eat clean foods?
Yeah, like chicken, turkey, vegetables, like nothing crazy.
A Sheetz steak and I literally just had one before you guys got here. That I bought last night.
I'll tell you what, I'll be going to Sheetz in the middle of the night time on the way home for sure. But like what it comes down to is like if you count your calories, it doesn't mean you can't eat shitty stuff during the day. You just have to make it fit into your macros. Yeah. Sure, if you want to eat a hamburger that's 40 grams of fat or whatever, go ahead. But if you have 50 grams of fat in your macros for the day, you better not go over it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just balancing everything out. So it's like you don't have to suffer. Like after every workout, right before I do cardio, I take my protein and I eat a Pop-Tart, because eating a Pop-Tart, like, not only does it kind of spike my insulin before I go do cardio, and it gives me some carbon to burn off, like, it makes me not want to kill myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
ate something, like, cool. So, like, there's no secret, man. Like, if you're looking for a secret, stop. Just
it's all pretty basic.
It's all pretty basic.
That's my biggest thing when people, like, talk to me about, like, fitness and stuff like that. Oh, man, like, what do you do? What did you do? And it's just, like, it's just applying yourself. Mm-hmm. And if you can stay, you'll get there. I said, like, I always say that, like, my big, like, motto with, like, getting somewhere is just, like, there's always a door, and you can either choose to open the door and walk through it, or just sit there and wait for someone to open it for you.
Yeah.
And it's just easier to walk up, open it, and walk through it. You know what I mean?
Do it yourself.
And you can use that in any
situation,
facet of life.
I put it in just about every one of my posts about lifting. It's like I always end it with like find an excuse or find a way, because I feel like you can find every excuse in the world not to do something.
Excuses are easy.
But if you can find a way to make it work, I think I think I'm a perfect example. It's like, I'm not supposed to be in good shape or lift weights because
or a wrestler,
but like I found ways to make it work for me.
Yeah. So it's always easier not to do something.
I know we were talking about getting you out of here. I have a few more questions. One of the questions that I wanted, because I wanted to bring it up, because a lot of this, like, we're supposed to talk about movies, we're supposed to talk about wrestling, we're supposed to talk about lifting, music, stuff like that. So there's two things I want to get on. One is I do want to talk about the handicap just a little bit because of certain movements.
Yeah.
So there's obviously like certain movements you can't, if you want to tell people what you're, so like you have cerebral palsy.
Yeah. So basically,
and your right arm is affected.
Yeah, it's essentially the whole right side of my body. So it's like neurological disorder from birth, which affects the way my brain sends signals to the, in my case, right side of the body. So it's like, it's kind of in my leg and in my foot, but it's mostly in my arm, hand, and fingers on the right side.
Okay. Now, this is part of the same question, hyphen, into the next part.
Yep.
For certain workouts, do you have like do you wear a strap or?
I do, because sometimes I have a hard time gripping the weight. So lifting strap really changed the game for me. So like when I'm doing shrugs.
Do you have certain ones? Like, do you have the one with the hook on it? Do you ever use those for anything?
I've never used the hook. I originally tried to find the hook ones when I first started lifting because I felt like those would work better for me, and I ended up just finding like a plain strap.
Yeah.
And then when I actually got the hook ones, I felt like it was a little more awkward for me.
Oh, really?
But I really like the strap, so I just kind of wrap the strap around, and it helps me hold the weight because sometimes my hand will just. Sometimes it'll have a death grip on things, and sometimes it'll just open up as I'm going along, because the idea with cerebral palsy is like the muscles are tighter. Like that's what it comes down to. Not only do I have weird signals going to my body, but like just the muscles are overall tighter. So sometimes like I have a death grip, other times my hand just opens up. But when I got these straps, it just like really helped things. Like when I do bench press, I don't need a strap because my muscles are tighter. Like I kind of just use my left hand to finagle my right hand. It on there. Yeah. So while I'm underneath, like my bench presses are a little uneven because I try to position my left arm a little bit more centered than my right, just in case for some reason my right arm goes out on me.
Yeah.
I kind of have my strong left arm to support the weight. But yeah, other than like a lifting strap, like I really don't alter that many things. There's times when I get frustrated because like of the awkward size of some things that I try to lift or whatever. I can't because my arm, or like just like situations where I know like I could lift more weight if I had a good arm, like that pisses me off more than everything, because it's like, man, I know like I'm a strong guy, but like because of my arm, like it takes away some of the stuff I could do. So that's the only time I really get frustrated. But in general, like, I don't know, I feel like I can keep up with, you know, anybody in the gym. Like I was like yesterday I was running Dan through the riggers in the gym. Me and Dr. Dan went to the gym, and I was running through one of my workouts. And how you feeling today, Dan?
I'm feeling alright.
Yeah.
See, there you go. So like,
there you go.
I just feel like I don't know, like I no excuses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like anybody can do something with 2 arms, and I can do it with 1.
There you go.
Yeah. And then another one is, I always get really stoked when I find dudes that are like, because you don't actually say it.
Yep.
But you're a straight edge guy.
I am. Don't drink. Don't smoke.
So like I get real pumped when they're like.
That's weird. I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was looking for some new drink or anything before.
Nope.
When I meet someone and it's like I just recently started like hanging with like Dave Chris started coming to shows in like our shows in like Cincinnati and stuff like that, and then like you find out that like Dave is straight edge. It's like,
yeah, all right,
yeah. Because
awesome.
what it comes down to is like I feel like I'm naturally just an idiot and like do stupid stuff.
That's
and like,
my excuse.
And like I don't need after the fact to be like, oh, I was so drunk. Like
yeah,
I'm like I'm
gives
just
you an excuse to get away with it.
Yeah, I'm just an idiot. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't know. I feel like I can have more fun just being me than any drug or drink can ever do. And
that's
it's like
exactly
like
how I
whatever. If you want to smoke weed, cool, I guess. But like that's not my thing. If you want to go get drunk, like sure. Like but like I tried it a couple times when I was younger, and
what do you remember what you drank?
Well, the worst experience was because I drank a couple times, but for some reason I drank like a bunch of I think it's like Bacardi 151, and like a lot of it. Like,
I know exactly what I drank.
What was it?
It was bad. I had 6 things in my life.
Okay.
One was I got poisoned by a woman in Odessa, Texas. So
okay.
I had
wow, that's a whole podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
I've only had Foster's beer.
Okay.
It's Foster's beer. And then when I say this list, anyone who drinks is like, well, that's why you don't drink.
Yeah.
Like, okay, or not. But so I've had Foster's beer right into Southern Comfort.
Yeah.
From Kristen Warning's house, I stole a bottle of gin. So I Tangrave gin. I drank like 2 sips of it. And I remember my grandfather telling me, he goes, in World War II, like if you smell gin, that means you got bed bugs. And that's all I remember. Yeah. So I remember like tasting, I was like, oh, that's what bug bugs say. And then I threw it on the ground, like a huge container of gin.
See you later.
I just threw it on the ground. And then did I say Rumpelmintz?
Or Rumpelmintz, no, you didn't say
I said Rumpelmintz, Goldschlager.
Oh, that's like the worst of the worst.
And then that was when I was like
Rumpelmintz.
14 years old. Yeah. So like that was 1 week. And my mom was trying to like, my dad was going through a whole bunch of like alcohol problems at the time. And I was like, I'm going to be cool like Dad. I'm going to get fucked up. And my mom literally like was like, here's $100. If you can get alcohol this week, drink.
Oh,
and
wow.
just kind of like let me go to my own devices. Had a friend who had an older brother. He got us like alcohol, and we were 14 drinking, and like never threw up or anything like that. Never got, it just like wasn't me. Like the fucking room was spinning. You know what I mean? Shit like that. Fast forward 10 years. I was probably about 24, 25 years old in Odessa, Texas. We were on Ozfest at the time. We were sharing a bus with Throwdown. This might have been Sounds of the Underground, actually. I think it was Sounds of the Underground. We were sharing a bus with Unearth. We're in Odessa, Texas. They had a day off show. They played some like cantina place in Odessa, Texas with like Dimmu Borgir or someone like that. Mm-hmm. And we had the day off because we didn't get asked to play with these guys, obviously, because they didn't want us on there with the fucking jabronis. So we went into this place. They had tacos, and the tacos were like super spicy. So I was like, this Ken Susie of Unearth was going up to get drinks. I was like, hey man, can you get me a couple Shirley Temples? Yeah, sure. So he gets some Shirley Temples, brings them back.
I love you had the balls to ask him to get you a couple Shirley Temples.
Yeah.
Straight up.
So I'm eating these tacos, and the tacos are spicy, so I'm just chugging the fucking these Shirley Temples. And I'm just blah, blah, and then like, hey, could you get me another Shirley Temple? Yeah. So like now I'm 3 Shirley Temples
deep
in.
Yeah.
But the tacos are gone, and I'm tasting And I'm like, oh, fuck, my stomach is burning. Oof. My fucking head starts feeling weird.
They put vodka in it?
And I'm just like, looking at him like, dude, aren't you guys feeling fucking weird? Like, is your stomach burning? And they were like, nah, man, we feel great. I was like, yo, try this, man. Does this taste weird to you? And, like, literally, dudes drink, they're like, nah, man, it tastes like weird grenadine. I've had weird grenadine before. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I take a couple more sips. I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, can you just go up and ask her what she fucking put in? He's like, dude, I'm telling you, man, it's just like a different grenadine you're not used to, blah, blah.
Just old.
I was like, just fucking go ask her. So he gets up, and you can see body movement. So, like, Ken goes up.
Yeah, talking.
And you see her talking to it, and then he just immediately, like, just turns back, looks at me, like that. And I'm like, fuck, man. And, like, so she, blah, like, he comes back, and he's like, he sits down, he's, like, real quiet. And I was like, well, what did she say? And he goes, well, there's grenadine, Sprite, well vodka. And I was like,
God.
I drank fucking 2 or 3 of these now. I'm like, what the fuck, man? And I look up at her, I was like, what if a fucking kid bought these? Don't you know what the fucking thing is? I just stick my fingers down my throat and just throw up on the ground. There was a huge picture window. I was gonna take a chair and throw it through the picture window.
Furious.
Like, yeah,
you
but like,
lost it.
yeah,
Wow.
and then like fucking Ken like grabs my. I have pictures at home. I'll send you guys I'll post the pictures of me drunk.
Okay.
So, I grab a chair. I want to like throw it through the things. Like, chill out, man. They just get me out of the fucking bar, whatever, like that. I'm just like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, but I remember at this point in time being fucking miserable. I remember I was wearing overalls that day. I'm like sitting on our bus. I'm drunk because I drank 3 fucking basically drank 3 mixed drinks.
You haven't drank
2 right away. Oh,
haven't
just
drank in 10 years.
Bam, yeah. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, this is the only time you're ever going to talk to your son drunk. Blah, blah, blah. And then I remember I called Dave Peters from Throwdown, who were also on this tour. And I go, Dave, I just drank 3 things. I did do it, man. This woman fucking put fucking vodka in my fucking Shirley temples.
I was eating tacos that were spicy.
Yeah, it's like, well, and I'm like explaining the story. I'm like, dude, what do I do, man? I mean, I threw up on the ground. I did everything.
I did all I could.
I did everything I possibly could to stay straight edge. And then, like, I think Dave was like, dude, I think I've been poisoned before too, man. It's okay. And I was like, all right, okay. So I'm straight edge. Yeah. All right. And just like, what with it? I didn't
talk to you later.
Yeah. And like that was it. And then I went and saw a movie, I remember, and there was like a photo booth, and I went and just took pictures. It's just like a depressed Andy, like.
Oh, and you have those pictures?
I have
them.
Yeah,
that's a must. It's just you by yourself.
Yeah, I was so depressed. I was so fucking bummed out, man.
Oh, that's
so bummed out. It was like seriously one of them. Like if anyone knows me that's listening to this, I don't get bummed out that much. I'm not like I'm a pretty positive person,
exactly.
And like if I'm depressed, it's usually something very like magnanimous that like gets me there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I was very pissed off that day.
I do appreciate though, Greg, that you don't drink, but you'll still come to the after parties and shit and hang out and stuff.
Yeah, because a party's a party.
Yeah, I like
goddamn right.
I like having fun, and sometimes I like the unintentional hilarity of watching drunk people act stupid. You know?
You took that amazing pic.
Oh my god, that video
of the square dancing.
Oh yeah,
oh it was great.
Yep.
I saw. You did take a video. I remember the picture.
2 videos. Yep.
So just,
good. People being dumb, square dancing, and drunk, and I'm just standing there,
just
awkward.
not moving.
Give us your drunk story.
What?
Give us the drunk story about the Bacardi.
Oh, so I took that with some Killian's Red. I think that's a beer.
Oof.
Yeah.
And apparently you're not supposed to mix those 2 things. And
151 is real strong.
Yeah, and I drank like a lot of it, like more than half a bottle, which is insane.
What was the occasion?
Just hanging out with my dumb 18-year-old friends who thought drinking was cool. And I remember it was so bad. I remember like we stumbled from one friend's house to another. And then I remember I was like sleeping in a basement, and I would occasionally wake up and just not even like puke, but just like I guess dry heave, because I would just spit out puke from my mouth. And like it was real bad. And then I remember I went home the next day and I was like, just felt the worst I've ever felt in my life. And I was like, man, I'm never doing this shit again. And I remember my dad finding out that I got drunk. And he thought, like, it was cool that I got drunk. My dad's an idiot. And I thought to myself, well, if my dad thinks it's cool, my dad's not cool. So I guess I'm never drinking.
It was a nail in the coffin.
Yeah. So, and, like, I don't know. It comes down to, like, obviously being around my dad who just kind of drinks because he's he's not the happiest guy in the world, and my mom being a drug addict, it's just like I used to have to see my mom smoke crack and steal shit for drugs and just like
that's what I was thinking with your background too.
Yeah, it's just like I don't want any part of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like if that's what you want to do, cool, man. But like I want to just love life and enjoy life with a sober frame of mind.
Well, that was it. After the week of drinking, my mom asked me. She was like, "So, what's the deal?"
Yeah.
I was like, "It's not for me.
Yeah.
I don't like the way I feel." And like that's literally it. Like, there's certain situations. Can you imagine being in certain situations in your life being drunk? You know what I mean? Now looking back at like certain points in times in your life.
Oh yeah.
Like, if I was drunk when that happened, like that would have took me.
Especially
over the edge.
Traveling all the time.
Yeah.
Like damn.
It's such like that's the thing too. Is like we didn't pick the most like we picked the very lonesome life. Mm-hmm. When you travel, it's like you're only with like one or two people, and
there's a lot of downtime.
Yeah, and that's like it's tough. Like that's every one of us knows someone who like you go to a show or something like that, and it's like every time you see this person, you're like, fuck, man, they're always drunk.
Yeah.
Or like drinking.
Yeah, or like, they can't wait till the show's over so they can get drunk.
Yeah, and it's like, damn, that's like super sad that like you're looking for that gateway out of your life. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're not pumped on it. Like Jesse and I wrestled in, like I said earlier, we wrestled in like Erie last night, and like the show was great, but it's not WWE.
No.
But like for
every great time,
that fucking time though, like that is like one of those things where like just coming out, even though I was nervous as fuck. Literally I'm always second guessing myself. The minute I open the curtain and I see a crowd, I'm just like, oh, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, this is rad.
You know what I mean? Anyone that fucking doesn't feel that, fuck, man, go away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you don't, if you don't respect that, you don't feel that, like this isn't for you. Or like entertainment isn't for you in general. It's like, that is like the best thing in the world. I remember like, we played a boat on this last tour, and like, fuck, dude, we're playing a boat. You don't know how many people, 800 people came to see Every Time I Die on a boat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? We played 2 sets, and like the feeling, like we cruised around like the Statue of Liberty, and like I was dressed like a cabin boy. And like just that feeling, like the whole day, it's like, I don't know, like Every Time I Die is definitely the type of band, and I feel like as wrestlers, you guys are kind of like this, where, there's fans, but like, you guys are them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, like you said, there's fans, but then like for you guys, like 800 people to come on a boat with you.
Those are us.
Yeah,
that's Every Time I Die. Like that day was like 800 people were Every Time I Die.
Yeah.
Where like crowd. You know, like sometimes there's a crowd like that where you're like, oh, this is Braxton Sutter's crowd. You know what I mean? Like this is like, these are my people. They're my people. You know what I mean? And that's like the best feeling in the fucking world.
Yeah. That's this is Shinfo, but I just did that. I went to that arm wrestling thing with Big Frank, and he like right before he was getting ready to go on, he was asking, do you ever like, do you still get nervous and stuff? And I was like, yeah. Like if you stop getting nervous, like you were just saying, like then it's time to do something else.
You get complacent, and like nervousness is like 2 different things. So not nervous because you're getting hurt.
Yeah.
You're nervous.
Excitement.
Yeah, it's like a nervous excitement where you're like, oh fuck, I need to get out there. Yeah. And like that's where like the rushing comes in.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I always tell myself, like it's good, like it's good nervous. Like it's just like there's good stress too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just gotta look at it that way.
Yeah.
Do you have any more questions for Greg?
No, we can
I feel bad.
Yeah.
We kept you longer than we were supposed to.
No, it's
You're all right?
been a pleasure, yeah.
Dude, because we had to do a little bit of work to get you here, man. I really appreciate it.
Also,
let's
get one more question.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We didn't talk about movies once.
No, I know.
So give us a five movie list that everybody should watch.
Can I?
Good movies?
One real quick.
Just in general. 5 movies that people should watch.
I just want you guys to check out if you've never seen this before. Like you were talking about the on paper thing.
I thought you were going to bring up when me and Greg went on a date.
We did go on a date.
Yeah, we went on a date together.
Oh, did you guys go to the movies?
Yeah. To go see Doctor Strange?
Yeah, that's right. It was like a real little shitty theater.
It was the worst. But
watch, you guys were talking about the round table thing, like the studio. Just check out I've never watched. I think it's Key and Peele on Comedy Central.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it. Just YouTube. They did a skit once where it's like a round table, and they're talking about how Gremlins 2 was created.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It's so funny, dude.
That's
like
great.
it's just basically a guy's like, this is pretty easy. The first one was really, we'll go off of that,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, like, this guy walks in. He's like, "What kind of gremlin do you want?" And like, "Oh, a girl gremlin." And like, because remember there was all kinds of different gremlins. Just dude, what? It's amazing.
That's ridiculous.
But anyways,
5 movies to watch. Well, one of my favorite terrible movies is Samurai Cop. Go out and search that one. That's like from like 1990. It's real bad. I love terrible movies. Anything with Hulk Hogan that just could be put into a top 5 in general.
Do you ever listen to the that podcast? How did this get made?
I do.
yeah.
And when they did
Jaws 4 is a
they
good
did
one.
Suburban Commando.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And they talk about in the beginning when he's like cruising on the motorcycle. There's just a guy in the background.
No, it's
throwing
Mr. Nanny.
Is it Mr.
Yeah,
Nanny?
yeah.
Where
I actually-
a guy is just throwing a dog into a canal.
Yeah, and
it's like
a
what?
somehow like he's just cruising, and like you just see a guy in the background throw a dog into the water, and like somehow it made it in the
Holy
movie.
shit.
Like, there's no.
But it's like a
reason for
lock.
it.
It's not like the dog had to fall a good amount into the water. Like he
Yeah.
might have been killing a dog in the background.
holy shit!
Yeah.
I never heard that before.
Dude, if you just search on YouTube, just that scene's on YouTube.
I saw Mr. Nanny as a birthday gift in 1993. 'cause
That's
it came out
amazing.
it came out in October of 1993.
I have a buddy who worships Jim Varney. He loves the
I
Ernest.
love Jim Varney as well. You know
Well,
what?
what
The
do you
top 5 is
know?
going to get rounded out with just Ernest movies. So there you go. Go watch Ernest right now.
He has an Ernest like half sleeve on his arm.
Yeah.
The guy's amazing. He's one of the greatest human beings I've ever met.
Fun fact, I can't confirm this for sure, but my grandfather's last name is Varney.
Ooh.
And he is from Kentucky. And so is Jim Varney. And he would tell me that he was pretty sure, but not certain, that he was cousins with Jim Varney. So I'm just going to take that as I'm sort of related
Straight
to Jim
up,
Varney.
yeah.
So like when people ask me, I'm just like, related to Jim Varney.
Yeah.
Got
I
a
think
little
you're- I
royalty
think
in
that's-
my family.
The True Hollywood story of him is amazing. It's really good.
Yeah, I want to get there's a book out, a biography about him that I want to get, the importance of being earnest.
He's not with us anymore, right?
He died in 2000.
Hey,
Okay.
so listen to this. So the dude that I'm talking about is in summer camp at the time, right?
Yeah.
His parents, this is how much he loves Ernest. His parents come take him out of summer camp.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you should have fucking answered that.
What the hell?
Someone just FaceTimed Kevin and it came up on the screen. And it was just my fat ass just sitting on camera. I would have beat it for him. What kind of chat room is this?
Just chat roulette,
I'm just sweating. I'm using my friend's tears as lubricant.
Yeah. We do call this the Sweatbox Studio if you're getting really hot,
It
by
is
the way.
getting hot.
Yeah.
So
Just letting you know.
so he gets his parents show up at the summer camp and take him to a Ponderosa to break the news that Jim Varney died.
Oh my god!
And he said he started crying.
Oh no!
Amazing.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Ernest Goes to
Especially
Jail is the
last.
best Ernest movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
A lot of kids go towards Ernest Scared Stupid, but I feel like Ernest Goes to Jail. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
There was the Christmas one,
what
too.
was the
I think
first-
I went
That's a
to
great one, too.
I went to the theater to see the
Ernest
Christmas
Goes to
one.
Camp is the first one.
It is.
Right? And then the second one's Ernest Goes to Jail.
No.
No?
The second one would be I don't know if that I might be Ernest Saves Christmas.
Okay.
I'm pretty
Ernest
sure it's
Ernest Goes to Jail. Isn't that the one when he's like in the courtroom and he eats the big piece of paper?
Dude, that's the funniest bit.
Yeah.
Because
That was like on the trailer, I
He
remember. It
bites
was
the
great.
pen and
Yeah, there's ink everywhere.
and all the ink, and he starts using paper to wipe his mouth, and it just gets, and it's the funniest bit.
Yeah,
in the
like
all-day
he's just
Ernest movies.
eating paper.
right,
It's so good.
Give us the top your other ones now. So
Samurai Cop.
Samurai Cop, anything with
Hogan.
Anything with Hogan. Particularly Secret Agent Club with Hulk Hogan is real terrible.
I've
I
never
never even heard of that.
I have all the Hogan movies. I have them all.
Come on over, guys.
Man, I'm trying to think. I don't know. Put me on the spot. I'm going to think of like 20 movies once I leave.
Yeah, 10 minutes later.
I mean, that's how that works. What have I watched on Netflix? I watched like that Masked Saint recently because Piper was in it.
Oh yeah, how was it?
Terrible.
Really?
Real bad. And I actually had a long talk with RJ City.
Yeah, he's in it, right?
I was just gonna bring up RJ City
about like some of the backstory with that. So like, man, if you guys haven't interviewed RJ, you should interview him and talk to him.
He's
about
got
the
stories.
Saint. Yeah,
he like Twittered me today and said he wanted to wrestle, but he more importantly wanted to debate that Sammy Davis Jr. started punk rock.
yeah,
which would be great.
You got to get him on here. For the stories.
I appreciate RJ's humor a lot.
We'll get him to tell, but do you know his Roddy Piper sauna story?
Oh yeah.
We'll get him to tell that. That's amazing. Yeah. Anyways, the Masked Saint's really that bad?
What a cock tease.
Pretty terrible. Yeah, it's hard to watch, and it's one of those like Christian films, so it's like
I didn't know that.
Really preachy the whole time.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Dude, I just saw some movie with Avatar dude in it, Sam Worthington, and it was like I remember like going into the movie. So, I can't remember the fucking name of the movie. It was fucking terrible. But I like went in and then like they started talking about God and they had some fucking nickname for God. And then like that black woman, Octavia, whatever her name is, she's like won an Academy Award. She's in everything now.
Yeah.
I can't think. The only thing that I can think of right now is like she's the first person that Michael Myers kills in the second Halloween that Rob Zombie did.
Oh, yeah.
She was like the woman at the
hospital?
Yeah, at the hospital. He fucking strangles her and her eyes are out.
Yep.
That's the only thing I think she's in. Now she's an Academy Award winner.
Gotcha.
She didn't win one for that. But, yeah. But anyways, yeah, and it was like, I read about, it's like a total like
preachy
God movie. And like, dude, there's only 2 movies that I've gotten upset with, I think, ever. Where I like got up and like, I walked out of that one, and then The Village by M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh yeah.
Like I threw a drink at the screen.
Yeah,
I hated it.
I saw it. People were groaning in the theaters when I saw it. It was bad.
Well, my mom is the most oblivious person.
But see, now you liked, damn it, with the red door. It Came at Night.
It Came at Night. It was okay, but I like
some of those. I'm not a hater. I like most movies. Like when it ended, literally people in the crowd were like, "What the fuck?" Like it was like literally when the credits were rolling, it was like, "Oh man." Movie. Well, then the finish was not climax. It built, and the climax was there. People were just like, "Oh," like it was like it was weird.
My mom is the most oblivious person in the world. I remember I was on tour and she was like, "Oh," I like talked to her that day. She's like, "I'm gonna watch The Village tonight," and I was like, "Oh, tell me what you think."
Yeah.
And like I'm like 30 minutes into the I'm gonna spoil you guys if you haven't seen it.
Spoiler alert!
This movie that came out 20 years ago.
Exactly.
Maybe sooner than that. But yeah, she called me like 30 minutes in and she's like, "Okay, these are all rich people living in the woods and they're like trying to stay away from like modern technology."
Oh,
now,
wow.
My mom is like, you can literally tell her like, "Oh my God, there's a space alien in the backyard," and she'll be like, "We need to get in the lock this place up." You know, like she's calling people.
Yeah. Not as stressed, but did you see Lady in the Water? Lady in the Water's worse.
Well, here's the thing, though. I saw Lady in the Water. Context-wise, if I was 13 years old, that would be like one of my favorite movies because like everything was a character in it.
Yeah.
You gotta watch that movie as a kid. There's some movies you have to watch. You have to take yourself out of your 40-year-old body and bring it back.
Agreed.
And like that's one of those movies where like I don't think that was made for adults. And I hate M. Night Shyamalan. If I am very vocal about it. I hate him.
Strong words.
But his last 2 movies were great. Like I thought Split was good, and I thought the Grandparents movie.
Oh, I don't think I saw it.
It was fucking awesome, but it was just like an old horror movie. Like,
yeah. Oh no, I did see it. It was really good.
Yeah,
yeah.
And it was like everything was like very obvious.
Yeah, but it was cool.
Yeah, it was great. And then
you do like good movies too, don't you, Greg?
Yeah, occasionally.
That's good.
Are you gonna see it?
Mostly.
Already did.
We just saw it. Yeah.
Probably the greatest horror movie I've seen in a long time.
Dude, that's what I said. It was like
you said,
a true, honest horror movie.
Yeah, you actually felt like you were watching a horror.
It's
movie.
not like
well written.
Because that's the thing. I think like nowadays there's not like all 3 things where like jumpy, scared, gory, scary, and then just scary.
Yeah, storytelling.
It's always like, oh, here's a movie, it's just jumpy. Like, you got your, like, Ouija boards.
Or it's just all gory.
Shit like that. Then it's just gore.
Yeah.
And then there's one, like, we're trying to be scary for the sake of just being scary. And then it just comes off really cheesy.
Yeah.
So
it's
like
too slow.
All three of them, man, just like on that one, you're like, oh fuck.
I feel like it was better than the original, and that might be a
Way
bold
better.
statement, but I just felt like you can get more emotionally invested in the characters. There's like not that the original was bad, but I just felt there was a little more heart in this one.
Yeah,
that's what a lot of people said.
Yeah, so pretty sweet
for sure.
Well, we talked movies. We talked diet. We talked fitness.
Brother does have a show to get to, by the way.
And another podcast.
For real? Whose podcast are you doing?
Colin Hunter, the guy from Kayfabe News.
Tell him to fuck off. Because we're the only podcast in town.
If it makes it any better, we're just reading erotic literature.
Oh, really? Oh,
really?
That sounds good.
Yeah, so it's not about wrestling.
It's actually kind of cool.
So you're not competing with another podcast.
I did pick up a Penthouse the other day and was like reading.
The forums?
I was in California. I was at Violent Gentleman Warehouse. And I'm like looking around and then I just see like a PE sticking out from under things.
Yeah,
like,
with the font.
And they're both like, Mike Hammer essentially is married at this point, and Brian, the other guy, has like, he just popped another kid out. So he's like super dad. He's got like 2 kids.
Yeah.
He is not like I'm actually surprised his dick works. He does have a really hot wife though, so whatever. But when you get to be like a 2-time dad, you're going to porn mags.
Yeah.
You're like even be like because you can't watch porn at home.
No.
Because like you have 2 kids around and a wife.
Yeah, and the computer, the history.
Yeah. So like if you're beaten, you're going back to the Stone Age. Yeah. Like so like you know what I'm saying? Like with 2-time kids, you're going and like you have to set time aside, and you can't just. It's an
ordeal.
You have a phone. But, like, the awkward thing about a phone is, like, say you're in the bathroom at the warehouse. The guys are pulling orders, stuff like that. And you don't realize that your sound is on. And, like, the first thing is, like, oh, I want to see your cock. And then, like, oh, shit, you got to, like, go down. There's, like, a thing. You put it up. Oh, shit, now you're beating on, like, a sink that everybody uses. Or the ground of the toilet.
It's a real awkward situation.
Yeah.
Yep. And we've all been there.
Yeah.
Straight to the
100%. So now he's magging up. You know what I mean? He's got his penthouse.
It's all magged up.
He's trying to find something. He's like, oh, like, and he's trying to think. Oh, okay, bush. I haven't been there in a while. Okay, I'm gonna beat to this bush a little bit, and then like fake hooters. All right, cool. Blah blah. Like he's going places, and then his mind is taking him there, and then like he's reading some of the erotica literature.
He's real invested.
And like and they always use like bigger words. Dude, I read all of the erotic literature, and like saying them out loud is awesome because they use the weirdest words. Like, oh, I was staring right into her quivering quim. And then
you got a lot to look forward to, Greg.
Yeah, like right at that, you're just like, first of all, no one is saying quivering quim. Like ever. Like I remember this one time reading when I was a kid. I only do this because like when I see the sweat on his head, I know he's sweating really bad. I just start going.
Hurting, man.
Because I know that he's going to be sweaty. Like, the other day, it looked like he jumped in a pool, and I just kept talking. I could see it.
It was like on purpose. I was trying to wrap it up, and you refused.
I read a Hustler. No, this is a Barely Legal magazine when I was a kid.
Barely Legal.
And I remember a woman, like, so when you're reading erotic literature, you're supposed to take yourself there. So now, you know what I mean?
It's a good rule of thumb.
You're with Andy Williams is with this Barely Legal team.
Yep.
You know, she's 19.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm 25, like right around that time. Because that's about the time when I was still reading mags. Before phones still existed, or like, you didn't have to pop a disc in or a videotape.
Yeah. Old school.
Yeah. And I remember reading Rubbery Stinky Peenie. Like she was talking about like,
oh my,
and like if E-Tid fans that listen to this have probably heard me say that before. Yeah. The origin of that is this erotic magazine about this woman or this. Yeah, it was the other way around. It was the context of the Barely Legal teen being turned on by the yard man, like the guy working on the yard when her parents weren't home, and she just was talking about how she wanted to get his rubbery stinky penis out of his pants, and then I think it went back to his context and was talking about her red puffy nipples. It was like another.
I've read
thing.
That one before.
Yeah,
they use that one. They use that one a lot.
I love when the line gets crossed. Like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
No, they use that one a bunch.
So like, it was. Yeah, erotic literature is real nice, dude.
I'm looking forward to
I
it.
hope you're
have
gonna
a great
chub up,
time.
dude. You're gonna chub up.
It's going to be real awkward, too, because I got to go wrestle a monkey right after.
Yeah, man.
Oh, boy.
Let's get you out of here so you can go read
We gotta talk.
read some literature.
I did want to say this though. One more thing.
How many more questions you got?
I just went to Bola.
Talked about this last.
Did we talk about Ed Powers?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, 100%.
I sat next to the porn director, Ed Powers.
We just talked about that last episode.
Horrible shot. If you know what I'm talking about, look up his films. His shot is terrible. We talked about this last
His
week.
dusty shot, yeah.
It is seriously like his cum shot is kind of like when someone's dehydrated and has that little white stuff on the edge of their lip. Like that's what his prick does.
By the way, the last episode, I just walked out.
He just
I
left.
said, dude, just wrap it up, man.
Yep.
Literally, sweat was pouring.
Oh, God.
Hey, one last thing. This is number 5. Dr. Dan's in the room.
Yeah.
Me and Dr. Dan wrestled each other 2 weeks ago, and I punched his butthole.
And that was a real thing that happened.
I
Yeah,
punched
we
his butthole.
talked about that. I know it was Dr. Dan that got
Yeah,
the
and
butthole
then I
punched.
kissed a man
Yeah.
right after.
I mean, we've all been there.
Yeah.
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 Just to segue that porn into punching a man's butthole. So Dr. Dan's here. He punched his butthole. So that was cool.
He also hit me with a keytar.
Yeah, he
And
with a
didn't make the
keytar.
video when I was real sad.
Yeah, that
There's a
sucks.
lot. Like me hugging the girl, I thought was like a real. There was a real emotional moment. Nothing. They didn't even get that on there. But whatever. It was cool.
Greg, thanks for coming in, buddy.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you
having
guys, man.
Yeah.
All
That was
the
real cool.
I'll explain it to you after, but our closing line of Heat's in the ring, brother. Thanks,
The
guys.
heat is in the ring, brother.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.